live. You're live. Wave at the people. Hey.
He's like, I can't wait for something Brendan again.
Oh.
He loves Brendan.
Well, we're here for our Saturday show, and I have two videos I want to show. One of them is a fun video that Rowan did. It's the Vosh, and he's playing with AI. It's a Vosh and Destiny video. And then another one's a video off of Twitter. So let me pull it up. Okay.
I found an article too that I was going to talk about.
Okay.
I just mentioned. I just think it's just bizarre, the framing of it. Anyway.
We can do that. Okay, this is Rowan's recent video, Destiny and Vosh, A Marriage Story. I haven't watched it yet. So this is my first time seeing it.
Okay, we're doing real reaction content. I'm excited. I'm seeing.
Yeah, except I'm gonna be on mute, but I'll react to.
I will say, in general, I'm against using the N-word. I am,
of course,
but
there
are specific circumstances in which it's okay. Like when it can be used almost as a.
Some might say the tactical slur.
Yes, exactly. Tactical slur. That's the term I was looking for.
Oh, trust me, I know all about those.
Ian, are we going to be best friends forever?
Stephen, ontologically, you're my best friend for life. Good morning.
Morning. I made you copy just how you like it.
Oh, thank you, Stephen.
I'm excited for our reservations tonight.
Me too. We're just gonna bundle up a little bit because it's gonna be chilly.
Oh, well, finally, an actual reason for you to wear those gloves of yours.
What's that supposed to mean?
What is what supposed to mean?
The glove comment, Stephen. Do you have something you want to say about my gloves?
No, I was just making the joke.
Right, but why would you choose that as the time to bring that up?
I don't know. I mean, when would a better time be to bring that up?
You are always finding these ways to make little dents at me, Stephen, and make fun of my hands.
I literally was not doing that. Okay, sorry. I just made a joke about your gloves. You got triggered as
fuck.
Oh,
I see. Right. So I'm just reading into things again. I'm just crazy. I'm just too sensitive. It's always me. It's never you.
I never said that you were crazy. Jesus, I was just poking fun at your gloves. I honestly think that they look kind of cute on you.
I'm sorry. Got a little defensive there. I shouldn't have taken the conversation there, but once I was in the middle of it, I don't know. I just felt like I had to defend myself.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So it's almost like you shouldn't have gone there, but once you were there, you acted in self-defense.
Stephen, we are not going there. We're not doing this right now.
We are going there.
We are not rehashing the Kyle Rittenhouse debate.
It was self-defense.
Oh
Ian.
my God. He crossed state lines,
Oh,
Stephen.
State lines. He crossed like 20 miles into a neighboring city.
Yeah, to what? Play white nationalist militia boy?
I should defend property that the police fucking wouldn't.
What property is not worth more than human life, Stephen.
Oh, okay. So we should just let thieves infinitely aggress upon people and steal their shit then?
In some cases, yes. And he didn't go there just to defend property. He went there to kill people.
He did go there to defend property. And once he was there, he was attacked with potentially lethal force.
Oh my
and
God,
he defended himself.
Even if that were true, which it's not, but even if it was, how can you not see the poisonous effect that has on the broader discourse?
Well, maybe if your conception of the broader discourse is threatened by out of the truth,
Well, there it
you're
is.
on the wrong side of the issue.
But does every single tiny detail of these conflicts have to be broadcast with such disproportionate focus that ultimately just serves the right?
Oh, okay. So you are willing to sacrifice the truth to further your own agenda.
As I had stated before, I am sometimes admittedly beset by the truth.
I don't want to go to the restaurant with you anymore.
I already made reservations.
Cancel them.
Fine. Yeah, no, but totally fine. I guess I can always just take Hassan instead.
Are you fucking kidding me?
At least he's actually a socialist.
Hassan is a tanky, Ian.
Better a takey than a neoliberal.
See, this is the kind of bullshit that I'm talking about. This is why we could never work. This is why I fucking hate you and I fucking hate the left. I swear to God.
Why are you so blinded by spite?
But because you stabbed me in the back, Ian. You were my friend. You were my brother. You betrayed me.
You betrayed the leftist cause, Stephen. You're no better than a conservative reactionary at this point.
A conservative? What the fuck did you just call me?
I said what I said.
At least I'm not the one who sexually harasses women, Irish laddie.
Hey, I apologize for that. And I grow. At least I'm not the one who ironically defends incest.
Oh yeah, well at least I don't autistically LARP with some fucking revolutionary socialist retard. Fuck.
I am autistic, and I'm proud to be a socialist. I got faced you, Stephen, intellectually. We were never going to work.
Every day I wake up and I hope you're dead. Dead like, I hope your ear gets infected and you get hit by a car and die. Pen.
Hey. You know, we've had some good times together, Stephen.
Yeah.
Oh, remember that time that we had that 2v2 against James Alseth and Eric Stryker?
Yeah.
We both support a robust welfare system with social safety nets.
And universal education.
And battling climate change.
And higher taxes on the rich.
And standing up for social justice in marginalized communities.
Oh, and don't forget shitting on Trump.
We do a pretty good job when we're on the same team.
Yeah. You know, Ian, I guess you're all right. For a socialist.
I guess you're all right too. For a liberal.
Ian, are we doomed?
I don't know, Stephen. I don't know. So, what are your thoughts on Israel?
Pretty good video.
Oof. Yeah. Is his name Eden?
I'm proud of
I
the
never
amount of.
knew that.
Yeah, that's his real name. I'm proud of the amount of work that he put into it. I mean, like it's really he put a lot of work into that. I mean, even with AI's assistance, it's still a lot of work to do to make.
So that was him with AI faces on top of him.
I guess so. Yeah. I think he took either. It's either him or he took clips from the movie Marriage Story, which I doubt that. I've seen that movie. And I don't recognize.
No, it looked like it was filmed in an apartment, like homemade.
He was recreating like he was recreating the scenes, but without actually using the clips from the movie. So I mean, which makes sense because like it wouldn't have worked with like the time frame he had to do that with. So he would have to end up repeating a lot of footage. So I see how he did it. He filmed himself and then. In reenactions or like recreations like body language wise of the scenes from the movie, and then he that fit his script, and then he went back and like added the AI face and stuff like that. And yeah, it's really good. It's really well done. I mean, there's only a couple places where it even glitches. It's really.
I wish Lib were here to see it. Like, I feel good that we get along with Lib better than Vosh and Destiny get along.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's because, like, I mean,
But I couldn't get along with Vosh either. I could get along with either one. If I was in that house, I'd be fighting with both of them.
I actually haven't watched Destiny much in a while. I watched Destiny a little bit more before we started doing this. I haven't really watched Destiny much since we started doing our show, so I can't like speak to like what he's like lately. I know that I did see some video online about like where I think his marriage is he's about to divorce.
Oh yeah, so I didn't even know he was married. Like, I don't follow him at all. But yeah, something about he's getting divorced or something.
That's the only thing I really know about Destiny from recently, and I didn't really watch the whole video either. I saw it on there, and I clicked on it, and I just was like, I don't really watch drama shit. So
I'm not interested in either one of those two at all.
Yeah,
like Vosh, I can't stand. Destiny, I'm kind of leaving him alone because he has the right position on Israel. But outside of that, there's so many other things about him that bother me.
He has the same position as both of us on a lot of things. Actually, he's very similar to us on.
Yeah, but he's also an elitist that thinks the white collar class is more intelligent than the working class.
Yeah, you have that. You do have that right. I mean, even though he was working class for most of his life,
and it's just a very unattractive side. That would be unattractive to me and anybody. He's just very like unashamed about it.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Which, if that's what he believes, like more power for owning it, it activates the disgust response in me.
From what I know, like I think he worked at like a Starbucks or some fast food place before he started streaming. So he doesn't really have any room to be that elitist about it. But nonetheless, I think you're right. I think he is. So, yeah, I mean, nonetheless, like, you know, but Destiny, like he's at least like he's one of the only major streamer types that like doesn't have like just abhorrent views though. So you know, I have that with him. Vosh, I don't buy that Vosh believes anything except in making money. Vosh is all about making money. I don't think he has.
Well, he's autistic, so it's really hard to.
I don't even believe
autistic. Yeah, he's definitely autistic.
You think so?
Do you trust me to know autistic people? I have Outdoor.
I
can tell you who all the gays are, and I can tell you who all the autistic people are.
Okay, I trust you.
And I'm using it in its broadest sense of neurodivergence, but he's probably even Asperger's.
All right. Well,
I don't know how somebody could look at Vosh and see a neurotypical brain.
To me, he comes off more like just narcissistic than he does autistic. But maybe that's true.
It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Oh, okay. He could be both. You're right. He could be a narcissist, autist. You're right. I didn't really think about it like that. I used to watch Vosh like whenever I first started getting into like YouTube and stuff like that. I came across him like I think prior to coming across Destiny. Actually, he got recommended in one of my feeds, and at first I thought he was like an interesting person to. Like I didn't agree with him that much, but like I at least thought he was interesting, and so I subscribed to him and I started watching some of his videos. And then I came across Destiny and stuff like that, and then I came across that was around the same time they had the Kyle Rittenhouse debate, like it came out around the same time as that, and I saw that and I couldn't help but agree with Destiny way more than Vosh, and then and as Vosh's videos kept getting recommended to me as I started watching them, I started seeing him become more and more seemingly unhinged about things.
That's how I found Paul from his debate with Vosh.
Yeah. I didn't come across Paul from that. I think I come across Paul because I was subscribed to Jordan Peterson and I had watched a lot of Jordan Peterson content, and like in Paul's early days, all he did was he made a few videos about Jordan Peterson. His earliest videos were, and like that's when I first came across Paul. I'd been aware of Paul almost since like his very first couple videos. Yeah, I
just discovered him last year or like early this year.
No, yeah, I've been actually subscribed to Paul for like almost 3 years, and he didn't make videos for a long period in between there. Like whenever I first came across him, he made like a few videos about Jordan Peterson, just like talking about Jordan Peterson's talking points, stuff like that. And then like he kind of disappeared from my radar, at least from my YouTube algorithm, for a long time until like he started making content like more regularly again. And that's when
Who
I
is
started.
Sophia Byrne?
I don't know.
Sophia, can you show your camera real quick so we know you're not a troll?
Just so we know you're not a porn bot or something like that.
Yeah, you don't have to keep it on. And Paul has a few new videos coming out. He talked about on his show today, so they look kind of good. He's hit one on archetypes. He's going to do one on religious extremism. Okay. Well, I have that other Twitter video that I want to see. This one is it brought up a lot of complex emotions. To me, it is the epitome of what I criticize about wokeness and the hyper feminization of society, or just the feminization of society. But this really takes it to the extreme. Like, masculinity is toxic and we're supposed to move away from being hyper masculine. But if this is the alternative, I will take the toxic masculinity. Thank you very much. All right, let me get it queued up.
Sophia Byrne says she's not a porn bomber. She promises. I know. I say bring her on, and just if anything weird happens, we'll just put her back off.
Oh, hang on, let me.
Think about your hat and the way it makes people feel, because it incites fear in all those around us. Every person is afraid of that hat. I'm afraid of that hat. Keep America great. For so many people, that's racism.
Yeah, but that's because of the mainstream media's narrative that's painted Donald Trump as a racist. I don't agree with the narrative. I'm out here to try to share that that narrative is skewed.
As a human being, we should pay attention to fear and not logic.
Wait, you said pay attention to fear and not logic?
Yes.
I should have paid attention to emotions and not facts?
Yes.
Why would I pay attention to emotions when
that are real in this world?
Facts are facts.
Are facts. No, emotions are real. Emotions is one removed from spirit. I find that it is hard to trust others.
You shouldn't trust the mainstream media. You should start listening and looking into it.
What media that you suggest? That is saying, don't trust knowledge, operate in darkness.
No, go look up facts. Go look up actual statistics and facts. Look up Pew Research.
Emotion is real.
But emotions change.
Wow.
I know that I'm still processing my reaction to that.
I've seen Sophia before. Yeah, let Sophia on, man. Like she has been on. I've seen her on Paul's jump for. I'm pretty sure. I remember that name sounds really familiar.
Paul and Jack. Okay, well, I hope you're not gonna spam porn or something. Yeah, I think I remember her name. Hi, Sophia. Welcome.
Yeah, no,
Hello, gentlemen. Hello,
Hi.
gentlemen. Thank you.
Oh.
I promise I would not do anything that would be malevolent to your channel or your live stream. I appreciate you letting me hop on. I've only seen a few of your live streams, and I've only seen a few of where I've tried to rewatch some of the stuff that I haven't caught live. And I was just trying to figure out, bottom line, what is your mission? What is your what are you about? Because I haven't been able to figure it out yet, what your mission is or what your values are and what you're trying to bring to the YouTube platform.
That is a great question. Thank you for asking it, because we haven't figured it out yet either. So this is a good chance to do that. Are you from the South? I hear a little accent.
I am right now. I live in Kentucky. I've lived in Kentucky since I was 10 years old. But when I was younger, I lived all over the place. And at one point in time, I lived in South Dakota, and they made fun of my Southern accent. And by the time I moved away from South Dakota, I had picked up their accent. So if I'm around different dialects, I will pick up other people's dialects just because of my first 10 years of life, hearing lots of different dialects. But living in Kentucky, I guess I sound Southern. I don't sound Southern to myself at all. So when people say that, when people tell me I sound Southern, I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't get it.
I love my Southerners, so I appreciate it.
I mean, I'm from Texas. I've lived in Texas most of my life. Most people think I sound like I'm from up north. So, I
mean, you do sound like you're from north. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm from Texas. I'm from East Texas. I'm from Southeast Texas. I've lived here, and I've lived in California, and I've lived all the way in Florida, and I've lived in Nevada, but I have never lived anywhere up above Las Vegas or so. So like, but yet I never really had much of a Southern accent. I still have.
Yeah, it's interesting how our dialects form. There's a lady on here. She goes by the name of Joni Rotten, and I absolutely love her voice. And her voice is because she also has lived so many different places, and so she speaks quite it's very unique. Her speech is very unique.
Oh, I haven't seen her yet.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's awesome. She has an awesome channel. She's a
What's
good
her name?
soul.
Joni
Her name
Rotten?
is Joni, Joanie. Last name is Rotten. She does a lot of she just thinks outside the box. I like the way she thinks. I don't always agree with everything she says, but I really like the way that she thinks, and she is very expansive with her thought processes. She's pretty cool. And also I like Seven Spalding. Don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's a deep thinker. I am familiar with Paul. I heard the other gentleman. I'm sorry, I can't read your name. The fella has the cap on.
Chris.
When I very first, hi Chris, nice to meet you. When I very first came to YouTube, Paul was the very first person that I ever got on a
You're
panel
talking
with.
about Paul, there's two Pauls and they get confused. You're talking about Paul Unslaved?
Correct. Yes, Paul
Okay.
Enslaved.
There's another Paul called P.F. Young, and that's how we met. So I was
Okay.
talking about the other Paul, but people get them confused
Okay.
all the time.
My bad. I've not met the other Paul. But yeah, I listen in from time to time. Excuse me?
Flow State's been on here before, so you know.
Yeah, Flow State. I love to watch Flow States.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's pretty cool. I have taken down my channel, but I can still, from my phone, I can hit a live stream link, and that's how I communicate with people now. I took my channel down for reasons I won't go into right now, because I just prefer.
Machine Lights before, because I think I've seen your name before.
Yeah, I've been around since probably March of this year. Yeah,
I think I've seen you in Machine Lights chat before. That's where I think I've seen you.
Yes, I love him too. He's amazing. I have a lot of respect for him. He understands things that a lot of Christians can't begin to comprehend. I have a lot of respect for the Machine Laws.
Yeah, we like Machine.
I consider him a friend, even though I haven't been on his stream in a little bit now. We both have been a little leery of the trolls that.
Well, that's because he elevated Tommy.
Yeah,
Tommy's a moderator now, so I'm not gonna.
Well, I tell you what, I love Tommy too. Like I get Tommy.
Whoa.
I get dude. I know it's controversial, but I see Tommy's heart. I can't help it. I have.
I can't get past his ability to not let other people talk and to just dominate every stream he goes on. And
Tommy, you think Tommy does that?
Oh, I know he does that.
Okay, well maybe I've missed that. I'm not gonna. I'll just have to take your word for it. I've seen a lot of other people do it.
Yeah, there are. Oh yes, there are
a lot of other people. Don't be wrong. He's not the only one.
He's one of the most noticeable ones.
Yeah, I'm digging that guacamole in the background, man. That's making me hungry for some Mexican
That's why I put it up,
food.
because I was hungry for guacamole today.
Yes, I wish I could have some guacamole right now. It looks great, but I was just listening to you guys, and I saw that there wasn't very many in your chat, and I thought, because I'm trying to learn about you and what you stand on, what your beliefs are, or what the way you live, or how I'll just like to learn from other people.
Sure. Yeah. No.
Well, Chris, what are we about?
Well, I would say that this show's main focus is on I think the things that we focus on the most, or at least we think about the most, are we focus on mental health, and also on community building. And we come at that from a lot of different angles. We talk about politics. We talk about social like topics of the day kind of thing. So we're doing a show every day. So like it's you can't endlessly talk about like the topics of community building and mental health without approaching it from all different angles. But we talk a lot about, and we talk to a lot of different kinds of people. We're interested in talking to anyone, absolutely anyone, and especially as long as
they're not a troll, no trolls.
Yeah, as long as they're willing to have a conversation and not just try to take over a panel and just try to talk over everyone. And in those cases, we're absolutely willing to put someone backstage. We have and we're taking them off the stream. We have no issue in banning someone who is just there to troll. And we don't typically engage with trolls at all. But yeah, the main thing is about community building. We really, I mean, that's what my main focus is. That's honestly what I believe is the answer to most of the issues that we have plaguing our society and everything is rebuilding communities and giving people a place to giving people places or places to actually communicate and talk to each other like just like human beings again, to actually find kinship and brotherhood and sisterhood amongst each other, even whenever you don't agree with them, even if like like we have a pretty consistent panelist for us is Liberty Holmes, and he comes in here a lot, and he is like in a lot of ways ideologically you think he would be the opposite of us, and we do have a lot of like arguments with him, but I personally have been really good friends with him, and he's coming here and we've had a lot of really great conversations with him, and at the end of the day we actually find we agree with a lot more than we disagree on. And that's what I think is the truth with a lot of people, no matter how tribally or ideologically opposed they seem to be. If you really dig down and you look down to who they are as people, you usually find that you have more in common than you do in difference. And on those commonalities, you can actually build common ground on which to actually build better communities and better and I think it's better for everyone when you have people that disagree. And they can disagree civilly in a way that, like, where you can actually get to an understanding and understand each other. That way, that you can actually expand your mind and find new ways of looking at things and actually, learn and grow as a person. That's my focus anyway. So,
I love everything you just said, Chris. That resonates with me. I think it's so important in the world that we're living in that we find common ground. I've often said that people like us, and like you were mentioning, even people with different opinions or what have you, we are not each other's enemy, but we do have a common enemy, but it's not each other. And when we realize that and we embrace each other's humanness and accept each other where we are and get past our disagreements or our differences of opinions, we can make the world a better place to some degree. Unfortunately, things are pretty bad right now in the world. I don't want to be a gloomer or a doomer at all, but I am a realist and I can see what's right in my face. I can see the agendas. I can see the destruction and things that, I mean, you guys know, you're not stupid. You know what's going on. And that's what we're up against, not each other. We're up against what is called principalities and powers and rulers in high places. And that's what I'm on. I'm on about trying to wake up people, trying to tell them, look, I don't care what religion you are, what spirituality you are, you need the Creator, you need God, you need Holy Spirit, because that is the only way you are going to survive what they've got planned next.
Well,
what are you worried most about?
But I will say, Gen X Jeff. So I mean, he's a non-theistic Satanist, and that's part of the reason that we started doing this together is because like we felt like our dichotomy between the two of us was interesting, and like that we come from different places, but end up coming to the same conclusions. But I know that I think I did see. Did you go on to Machine Lions before? I
have been, yeah, a couple of times.
One of the episodes that you were on with him, and I remember you talking because some of the things you just said like just triggered like that memory response in me. And yeah, I think I understand where you're coming from entirely. That I was raised by a minister, a conservative Christian family upbringing. So I mean, my dad was a youth pastor and a seminary student. He did music ministry too for a while. So I mean, my dad's been at just every kind of ministry can be, pretty much within Baptist churches. And so, so I understand where you're coming from. I know what you mean when you talk about principalities and the.
Yes.
Might be one. What is it that you're most worried about that's currently happening?
And I hate to use the word worry. If I said that a minute ago, let me retract that and use the word concern. My
Okay.
biggest concern for the world, for all the souls in this realm, my biggest concern is that things will keep getting so bad that people will be looking for answers, and that when that time comes, what we've all have heard of, the Antichrist, will take place with all the answers, with signs, miracles, wonders, counterfeit things that, he'll counterfeit the true Jesus Christ, and people will believe him and they will fall for the deceptions, and there will be a moment of peace, and then all hell will truly break loose like we've not seen yet what's coming. We think we have. We think we're like, oh, it can't get any worse, but yes, it can. And I'm concerned for people who aren't linked up with Holy Spirit, with Holy Creator, with Holy Father. For me, it's going to be through Jesus Christ. For other people, they might use a different name. I'm not going to judge or condemn or force, but for me, it's always going to be through Jesus Christ. So my thing is, be prepared for this Antichrist to appear, to take the seat in the King Solomon's temple that's being rebuilt, and supposedly going to have all the answers. That's my concern, that people are not deceived and led astray.
Jeff, do you want to respond to that, or you want me to take this one? Because
Um,
I have
well-
a thing to say about that. So.
Well, I mean, I'm not a supernaturalist, so that's not a concern I worry about or think is going to happen. But I'm interested in this concept of Holy Spirit. Is there a version of Holy Spirit outside of the Christian framework that would perform the same function that it does for Christians, for
Well,
people
there
that are not
definitely
Christian?
There definitely is.
In my opinion, there would be, because I am of the persuasion that the Creator Most High, that knows each of our souls, that created each of our souls, is a very merciful and benevolent being, and that being, that benevolence and that love will help us if we seek it. And like I said, for me, it has to be through Jesus Christ, just because that's what I know and what I understand. But I believe that if someone calls upon the name of the Lord, that he will hear them, that God, our Creator, the Most High, will hear them. And that's the Holy Spirit that I'm talking about.
Okay.
Does that help? I don't know if I explained adequately.
Yeah, I think so. Like the first thought I had is, if he is truly loving and benevolent, then we're going to be okay. That makes me even less worried.
Yes,
kind of feels good knowing that if that there's this benevolent creator that exists. If he does, I don't believe he does, but if he does, and he is benevolent and loving, that makes me feel even more secure.
He is already seeking you, Mr. Is it Gen X, Jeff? He is already this benevolent being that I'm speaking of, that I know, that I have in my soul, within my being, because the kingdom of God is within me right here and now. I know this benevolent being loves you and knows everything about you, and is calling you to himself if you should decide to seek him. If you decide to seek him, he is there waiting to embrace you, to fill you with his Holy Spirit, with his joy, with his hope, with all good things, with protection, with understanding each and every trauma or pain that you may have experienced in your life. He loves you. I can tell you this from firsthand experience, because there was a time in my life that I said, excuse my language, F all this. I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't need God. I'm not going to believe in God anymore. And I even cursed God. I cussed at God. I was mad at God. There's many different reasons. One being that my sister died at an early age and I never got over it. There's a lot of things. I've had a lot of trauma. I've been very abused. I grew up in a dysfunctional family. My parents were what you would call dry alcoholics. Although my parents, they're both passed away now, and I look back now and I see who they really were, and they were good people, and they gave me everything they had to give me to raise me up right. They gave me a foundation. Even in their brokenness, they still held on to God, and they transferred that to me. And so I eventually came back to, the scriptures do say, train up a child in the way he should go. When he is old, he will not depart from it. And when I realized I was going down the wrong path by turning my back on my God and my Holy Spirit and my Jesus Christ, that is my relationship with God, I found myself, okay, I need to, and God was there waiting for me. And, it's the prodigal son story. It's, the prodigal son in the Bible. He left his father. He said, look, I don't want this no more. Go ahead and give me my inheritance. And he went off and he spent all that money on riotous living. And then he found himself with nothing to eat, living with the pigs on somebody else's property. And he said, maybe if I go beg my father, he'll forgive me. And before he ever got to his father saw him coming, and he said, there is my son. And he told all the servants, he said, kill the fatted calf. We're going to have a party. We're going to have a feast. My son has returned. And he ran to his son and he embraced him with love, and he took that son back. And that to me is who God is.
Well, I do say I think I think it's really cool that your name is Sophia. Like what Sophia, the original spelling with P is Sophia. That means wisdom in Greek, right?
I have learned of that, yes, and unfortunately, this is not what people would say their government name. The last name is my Irish name, Byrne. That's my Irish name.
Well,
I didn't put.
You chose it though. I think you chose that as your handle though. I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, I did, but I didn't realize what I was doing when I did it. Other than my Irish maiden name, I knew my Irish maiden name, so I chose it. Yeah, I would never. You got to be careful on these platforms. You don't want to put out your real name into the world.
I do. I'm completely like I believe in just being who I am online. I understand when people have that trepidation.
I'm a female by myself, so I have to be a little more careful.
I'll never beg anyone. I don't care. Like you can be as coded as you want to be. We have lots of people that don't go on camera like that. I understand.
I respect people that can do it.
No, I understand where you're coming from entirely. And honestly, there's a lot of wisdom in doing that. It's not. There are a lot of trolls and a lot of people out there that will try to fuck up your life for no reason, really.
It's awful. Some of the things I've witnessed are just horrific. The unkindness and the hatefulness and the inhumanity to man that just plays out on YouTube. I'm like, I have to step away from it sometimes. That's part of the reason I took my channel down. So I can no longer type in chats, but I can hit from my phone. I can hit StreamYard.
Oh, sure. So you're not in the chats anymore? Or you can watch it and still interact?
Yeah, I had to take it down, and I had to take myself out of those chats because I just found it too toxic. I couldn't deal with it anymore.
Did you get a lot of hate after being on that TML stream? I saw you.
I have received a tremendous amount of hate, rejection. People have laughed at me. People have made fun of me. People have called me horrible names. They've called me, it's been bad, but it didn't hurt me because I know who I am. Yeah. I know who I am. I'm strong within myself. So anything they've said or done behind my back or to my face when I was in chat, it doesn't hurt me. Like that stuff, I'm solid with who I am.
That's the right attitude to have. I mean,
that sounds healthy. Same here.
Yeah, when I first came to YouTube, I wasn't. I was in a broken space. And oddly enough, Paul Unslaved, he was the first panel that I ever joined, and he was the one You know, they give Paul a lot of bad rap sometimes because he's aggressive. However, Paul pushed me, and he pushed me to wake up. He pushed me to wake up and remember who I was. I don't agree with Paul. I don't agree with his aggressive methods at times that can harm people, but I have a lot of respect for him that he went through hell. He got off heroin, and he says he stays connected to what he considers his God that helps him. So that I was very broken, and like he triggered me. Obviously, he triggered me, and I said some really strange stuff that I'm not going to go into right now. But then I came back from that, and I was like, "Hey, I need to get back to my faith and my God and my relationship." It's a whole long story, but because you pop up, like I guess you're related to some of these other people. So you pop up in my feed whenever I go to YouTube on my phone, and I was like, "What's this guy about?" I
Oh,
want to
like in the
know more.
algorithm?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
actually
we kind of share audiences and guests. We've been on each other's streams, so that's probably
Yeah.
that at least that that actually is really cool to know because like it lets me know that the algorithm does actually work in some ways for people sometimes. Like I wouldn't have I don't think I would have come across Jeff if not for like Medium and PF Young's chat. So so that's interesting. Like I'm really happy to know that the algorithm occasionally does something right. Because we definitely, I mean, Flow State's been on here before. TML's been on here before.
And that might have been because of those two. I might have learned of you guys. I'm not sure, but I picked up my phone, my YouTube was there, and there you guys were, and I was like, I'm gonna go see what they're about.
Sure, yeah. I'll tell you a couple of quick things. I think I really appreciate your story and like appreciate coming in and sharing that anyway, regardless of anything else. I think it's really we love it anytime, especially anyone who's willing to have a conversation. We don't even care if I don't care if your opinions or your viewpoint is like opposite, like diametrically opposed to my own. I don't. It does not bother me at all. I want to have conversations with everybody. I believe in the community of humanity in general, and I believe in like having like
especially YouTube. I'm glad to hear that YouTube was able to help you in a positive way.
Because we're both. I mean, Jeff is a peer counselor. He does mental health support in up in Seattle, and I'm down here in Texas. And I don't do that yet, but I'm actually trying to get into that myself. We've both had a lot of issues with
like
mental illness and stuff like that. So we have a lot of like we really want to help people. We really do.
Just knowing that YouTube has the potential to have that kind of effect, that impact on people.
Yeah. That it gives us a lot. It makes me feel like our mission is somewhat validated to some degree. And I even if one person, just even one person, maybe I hope it's a lot more people than one person. But I'm saying, but even one person, that makes it kind of worth it to a degree. But I'll tell you, Sophia, I just want to like just touch on like your thing about the Antichrist though. I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but like, and I'd be happy to talk to you about it more, anytime. But I have a different view on the Antichrist than a lot of people do. And it comes from the Bible. I believe that the Antichrist actually has already. Now, I'm not saying the Antichrist there couldn't be a second incarnation of it to come again. I'm not saying that there's people that believe that as well. But I look at Revelations and I see the thing about this takes wisdom. There's the number of the beast, the number of man, that number is 666, right? And there is only if you just do a simple search on any kind of like Bible site and you look for any other instances of 666, there is actually a specific person that it refers to in the Old Testament, and it is Solomon. It talks about how Solomon in those days was receiving 666 talents of gold from his various ventures and stuff like that. It doesn't really say per month. It just says that he was getting these in some regular, but it was always 666. So that's the only time that number's ever mentioned. And like I believe that Solomon himself was actually the Antichrist, because of some various things that I could explain that in much more detail another time. But but that Jesus Christ actually was the result of was God's natural vision of balance for the world, and therefore when the Antichrist was created, the Christ was necessitated to come and therefore fulfill the law and complete the covenant, and that's where Christ's power ultimately comes from. Like I said, I consider myself a Gnostic Christian to some degree. I believe that Christ himself talks about the Sophia, the Sophia of the Lord, the Pistis Sophia, it's in the Gnostic documents. He says he came not to defeat Sophia, but to redeem her. And Sophia is in the Gnostic tradition is the spirit of wisdom that at one point departed from the Logos, which ultimately is known to be Christ later on in the first emanation, and she departed from the Logos and created without understanding. She was wisdom without understanding. The Logos is understanding or truth, and so she created without understanding, which and ultimately created the demiurge, which is what God, the ultimate God, used as his unwitting hand to create mankind and create the physical world. That's my particular like esoteric view, and I don't take it that literally. I take it as an understanding of something that's like kind of too deep to be literal. It's too kind of it's too immaterial and too ethereal to fully understand it with our human brains. I think that it speaks to deeper truth, and that's the best way we can understand it. It's not really about like the literal, but about the spirit, about the more esoteric, I guess you could say. But like that just I'm just giving you I just want to say that because you mentioned the Antichrist, and you mentioned your name is Sophia and stuff like that. I felt like I would be remiss if I didn't mention like my specific views on that, because I've talked about this stream before too. So I just thought that was really fascinating, and I wanted to mention that. But please tell us some more about you. I want to know more about who you are, and just to tell us like some of the views you have. Like let's just talk about like what's some of the experience you've had on YouTube and stuff, because we've had our fair share of like run-ins with the trolls and stuff like that. So.
Well, first of all, I appreciate every single thing that you just said. You sound like you've probably studied it a little deeper than I have. I am interested in esoteric type subjects. I've never viewed King Solomon as the Antichrist. However, I'm not a scholar, so I can't debate that with you to say whether you're wrong or right. And as you've said, that's your view. And I do think it's ironic that I chose this name as as you guys called it a minute ago, my handle or whatever, because I had no idea until after I chose this name that there was so much associated with it based on what you just said to me. So I find that fascinating. But as far as what I've determined that I need to do, because you touched on mental health, and you touched on, coming through crisis and coming through trauma and coming out healthy. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, if we're born into this world, this realm, we are going to have trauma. There is not a soul born here that is not going to go through some kind of trauma that they then have to deal with their shadow self and work it out and get a resolve and come back to the Holy Spirit and get healed. And many would say, well, why would God allow that in the first place? Well, I can't answer that, because God's ways are not my ways. His ways are higher than mine. I can't begin to comprehend the mind of God. I can only go off of what Jesus said, that children will, I think there's a Bible verse, something about having the faith of a child, coming to Christ as a child.
Yeah,
that's where I find myself, to where that I can be mentally healthy, live a healthy life as best I can, treat other people as I would want to be treated, respect them where they are. Even if I don't agree with them, I'm going to love them. My best friend in the whole world, I just got off the phone with her. She's an atheist / agnostic. She and I have completely different political views, different spiritual views. However, We've known each other for over 20 years. We're always going to love each other. We're going to have each other's back. We're going to be there for each other, regardless of what any kind of, we don't talk about, like, I'm not going to trigger her. If she says something I don't agree with, I'm going to let her have her say, and then I'm going to love her and change the subject, because she has a right to be who she is. And she does the same thing for me. She lets me talk about my relationship with God and where I've been on my spiritual journey. And she doesn't get mad at me. So it is possible for people to actually love each other and get along, even when they're coming from different places. And yes, the mental health stuff, like depression, is very real. Clinical depression is very real. I've been there many times, and God has pulled me out of that dark pit. Thank the Lord. I'm so thankful that I'm still here. When I first came to YouTube and I first got on Paul's panel, I was very suicidal. That's part of my story. I had came to a point where I was like, ain't doing it. I'm taking myself up on out of here. If God won't let me go to sleep and come to him, then I'm going to physically take myself out of this realm. Like, I was ready. I was making plans. I had all kinds of plans. And somehow I found myself on YouTube. Now, of course, I had watched YouTube videos before, but I had never gotten into a chat or listened to a panel. And when, in that very weakened mind state back in March of this year, 2023, I mean, let's face it, the last 3 years have been pretty horrific. We're coming up on 4 years now of what the powers to be want to try to put on us. It broke a lot of people. I wasn't the only broken person. I wasn't the only person having these feelings. We've all had these thoughts and feelings. But I'm so thankful that I didn't give in to them, because, and here's what I remind myself. If I give in to that and I harm myself when it's not my time, because only the good Lord can take me out of this world when it's his time. If I give in to that and take my own life, then Satan laughs and he's happy. And I'm not about to give him a moment's pleasure. I'm here to fight him with righteous justice, with the angels helping me, with the Holy Spirit helping me. Satan wants to kill me. Satan was trying to make me kill myself because he knows I'm going to share my faith and my testimony in Jesus Christ. And that's kind of what happened in the beginning when I was very broken back in March and April. And I kind of, I came back to my senses and I was like, wait a minute, I do need the Lord. The Lord is real to me. My relationship with God is real. My redemption and my forgiveness of sins through Jesus Christ is real for me. It's real for me. I can't force that on anybody else. Only the Holy Spirit can, call to someone. And if people never hear that name, Jesus Christ, yet they call on something greater than themselves, God's going to hear that. Like, I'm going to go back to that. I'm never going to judge or condemn anybody. I'm not God. I'm not here to judge people. I'm here to love people. And I get laughed at a lot because I use the word love, but I feel that ultimately love is the highest power and the highest vibration. And sometimes love is tough. Sometimes love is aggressive. Sometimes love is setting boundaries. Love is not all ooey gooey, warm and mushy, fuzzy feelings. Like, love is, it's dual. It's the duality. It comes back to the duality. I hope I made sense. Like, I'm trying to talk from my heart because this all means so much to me. And I appreciate you gentlemen listening.
Yeah, absolutely. No. I think, like, when you're just to speak, I know a little bit from, like, Jeff being a non-theistic Satanist. Satan is more of a, just so you know, like, just look from my scholarship and everything that I know of. Really, I think your accuser, if you will, in the physical world, according to the scriptures, is really Lucifer, not Satan. Satan is more of a philosophical or literary construct. Literally, the name Satan means opposer. And so, like we talk about a lot of times, the only reason that Satan and Lucifer get conflated is because of mistranslation in the KJV, several hundred years ago, that that conflated the morning star Lucifer with Satan, and it was a mistake. So just so you know that, I think anytime someone doesn't know that, I think it's important to point it out, because I feel like whenever we put all the blame on, it's almost like it almost is a trick of the deceiver, if you will, that we put all this blame on this idea of Satan, whenever the idea of Satan really isn't anything to be feared. He's usually there almost as a part of God's plan, is more or less to really serve more as the devil's advocate, if you will, something that advocates for the other side in order to kind of like sharpen our own ideas in mind. And it's like I just wanted to mention that just because I think that you'd find that interesting. But
I do find that interesting, and I actually agree with that, because it's the trauma and the difficulty and the pain, the things that we do think are adversarial or accusatorial, like you're saying, like Lucifer is the accuser. You're absolutely right about. Hey, dude, there's my dude. He was. I love you, dude. That's awesome. How you doing today?
Hey, what's going on? I wanted to say hello to the soul sister Sophia. You know what I mean? How you doing today? You know what
Oh, I'm chatting with these gentlemen. They've been so kind to me. They've let me speak my heart,
Yeah,
and
they're
it
great.
means the world to me.
Yeah, I love these guys. You know.
Yeah. I had hopped on originally just to find out what they were about, and they're very interesting.
Oh yeah.
Well, this is what we're about: giving people a place to speak their heart.
That's
Sophia,
awesome.
you said when you first came to YouTube you were suicidal. What helped you, and what would you tell somebody else that might be in a similar situation?
Well, goodness, it's a deep dive, but I'll try to concise it as best I can for the sake of time. Oddly enough, the first chat I found myself in was Paul Unslaved, and that was the first panel that I found myself on. And as I mentioned before, Paul has a gift of, in a way, of triggering people and waking people up a little bit. And I appreciate that about Paul. I think he has a lot of wisdom. I appreciate that about him, but I think sometimes it goes too far. And I think it was in the going too far part in his chat where females, this is the part I've really been confused about. Females were attacking me in his chat, and they didn't
I
know
completely
me.
believe it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Females are very aggressive and competitive.
and I still, even though those females have attacked me, I still feel fondness for them, and I feel good things towards them and hope good things for them and send them good energy, because whatever their opinion of me is not my business. Like, that's cool. I'm okay with that because I know who I am, and they can say whatever they want to say about me. But that's kind of where I started. And
so
then
in some way, like his attacking you or being aggressive helped you to like woke something
it did
up.
a little bit. It did a little bit. The first time it did, I was like, oh, this dude's trying to wake me up a little bit and get me to come back to, having my wits about me, because I was in a bad place. Like, I was ready. I was ready to take myself out, and nobody should do that. We've all been there. Like, that's no secret. We've all experienced that.
Unfortunately,
yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know if I completely answered your question or not.
No, you did. I mean, you answered the question. Yeah, I think so.
I'm trying to. I'm really interested in if there's a way for YouTube to help people, especially in those extreme crises. I'm
to help people. Yes.
Just YouTube in general. Like, would you send them to certain channels or tell them to go find a panel and talk?
Well, I would definitely recommend the Machine Laws because he is so knowledgeable he is so spiritually deep that even though, he doesn't say that he's a Christian, he knows so much about Jesus Christ, and that just makes my heart it fills my heart with joy that this Muslim brother whom I love and respect knows who my Jesus Christ is. Like, it touches me.
Yeah, we had I
So,
don't know if you saw the last episode, but we had Deacon Swaden on, and he completely explained the Trinity, as opposed to the Nabateans and the Nestorians and some of the later groups that came, and he even broke down Saint Augustine and some of Boethius philosophy.
Oh,
Yeah, so
I
it
like
was
Augustine.
yeah, it was very interesting discussion we had, because the previous two discussions I went and broke down the Gnostic sects, and then the Ebionites, so those second century groups, and then we progressed from the second century to move on to the 5th century, and going on from there. Today we'll cover some medieval sects, some Islamic, medieval sects that influenced Aquinas and even Descartes. So yeah, we got a good show coming up tonight
Oh
too.
yeah, I forgot. It's Saturday. You're streaming
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah, I forgot what day it was too.
Yeah,
I've lost track of days here lately.
Yeah, I had so much trolling on my channel that like the last 5 or 6 shows, I just did lectures like the first 2 hours so that they would leave me alone.
Okay, so yeah, that's actually helpful to know. I can go back and actually listen to the first couple hours of your
Yeah.
classical shows then, because I gotta admit, like, I love you to death, man, but I've been avoiding this. I've been avoiding your show because of the troll. It frustrates me so much.
Oh, well, this is the wrong time because I got rid because the first 2 hours is what you need to watch. Just watch the first 2 hours and then don't watch the rest of it.
So you don't have guests on for the first 2 hours. It's just you presenting
it's just me
information.
now.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And then
I
opening
gotta
it up later.
Yeah, I got to do it that way, or I have a guest on. Now I'm experimenting with having guests on that are knowledgeable on subjects that I want to cover. I had Adam Green, and then I had Deacon Swaden on. As kind of like two very opposing views.
well, unfortunately, I missed all of that. The Machine Laws, I missed that. So I'll have to go back and try to grab that and listen to it. And I was telling these gentlemen, I've actually taken my channel down, so I can't be in chat. I can only hit the same link.
Yeah, I'm gonna communicate with you very soon on that. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, bless your heart. That meant a lot to me that you reached out like that. I want to tell you that personally.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it as well. And I'm going to go ahead and hop down. I've got the rest of my Saturday chores that I've got to do. I've got a little bit of laundry and some things to catch up on. But thank you all so much for letting me join in. And I'll definitely be tuning in and listening, even if I'm not in the chat.
Yeah, well, you're welcome to come on anytime. Just pop on anytime. Like
it's open panel every time. So in fact,
well, thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you, new gentlemen, and it's always a pleasure to see you, Machine Laws. So God bless all of you. Allah bless you. Amen.
Bless you. Bless your heart.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Good to meet you.
You too. Bye-bye.
How's it going, man?
Yeah, I had to hop on because of Sofia. I was like, I was excited to talk to her. So, I didn't see her for
that's where I knew her from. I knew her from like the time she went on your panel, and I seen her in the chat over in your chat a lot.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah, I love the hardcore Christians. They have a special place in my heart and in my chat. I often give them moderator functions and stuff because I want a safe community for people to talk about their faith and all that stuff. And I feel like
she's a really loving person. She really is.
Oh,
I remember when she was on your panel at the time. I remember that was a really good show.
That was excellent.
I think she went on there and talked a little bit to Omar, I want to say. And
it was so many opposing viewpoints that day. And that's why, another reason why, although I'm not amused with almost 90% of the results on the panel, it teases out those rare moments, where there is like even a 10 to 15 minute conversation between like 6 different viewpoints, where it could only happen in that setting where, you really have to wait for the nonsense to die down to get that sweet residue. But a lot of times if you kill it in advance, that kind of it doesn't emerge. That type of moment will never actually emerge, because it'll just keep on, even a subtle kind of an impromptu disagreement can be more honest than a structured debate.
That's true.
Because people they go with their raw feelings on things, and they kind of just present their, and a lot of times their initial or intuitive responses is way more valuable than some sort of research nonsense that they're going to get from a bunch of secondary sources and compile it together. I've often found that myself. Sometimes I have these one-off statements, and I even have to go back and listen to myself, like, be like, what did I just say? Like, that was pretty good. So I even want to force myself into those moments.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Like that's a pretty good explanation. I do think the problem is only whenever like someone like Sofia comes on there, because I remember that time she came on there, she was kind of nervous about coming on, and she came there and talked to Omar, and she was very nervous at the first, and like she really opened up at that, but then Tommy or TBE or something showed up and get on there, and they just started shouting everyone down and everything. That's the problem I have. It's not that I don't mind these 6 different viewpoints. I don't mind all the people that have crazy things to say. It's whenever people talk over everyone and take over the panel. That's what I have.
I knew
me too.
I knew that Tommy and Toilet Bowl Earth would go away after a while, because they're trying to stir up a troll segment. But in that, I got hundreds, if not moments, where it is the only time where I get them to talk about what's important, because you watch their videos and it's just a bunch of jokes, like all day jokes, all day drama stream, them reviewing other people's content because they have nothing to do. So it's actually sad to sit there and watch their show. But if you watch them on my show, you get like, I have tens of clips of Toilet Bowl Earth talking rationally about religious issues, as he never does on his own show. So I mean, I'm happy to have produced that, even to have assisted him in that way. Because like, I don't care like if somebody like, talks about like my wife, or like does this and that, or like, has this kind of amusement factory where they're comparing me to like all these other grifters online, like Jay Dyer or Grace Thorpe or whatever, and they're kind of like having these kind of like weird, pseudo intellectual contests with each other. What do I care? I mean, I like read like primary sources, like on philosophy and like religion. And like that's what I present. Like why should I care about their silly little debates? So like really so really the thing is like, I want them to engage with these ideas. Like I think it was very useful that somebody pressed this guy and made a fool out of him and said like, look, you don't know the 10 Commandments. Like you're not fit to defend these things, and that I walked up to the mic and just laughed at him for it, because it's just, it's just like, let's just all level up is all I'm trying to say, and like even, and when I present those, I have EBT and TBE arguing with each other about religion for hours, on my show. So that's the type of thing that small residue. Sure, they got mad at me and then they trolled and like they did that whole thing, but it's that residue. It's like there's still these unanswered questions, and at the end of the day, it's all we have. We're gonna have these disagreements to look after and to create new variation in our lives.
Well, your channel is growing, so that's hard to argue with.
Yeah, sure. I mean, and there is a little bit of stagnation at the moment, and I think it's because I've moved in a kind of a different direction from the panel drama stuff. It's because I guess a lot of people tried to embroil me into a lot of different online feuds, and my reaction was, I can't even take sides. I don't even know what's going on, guys. So I think they're just like, all right, we'll just leave this guy alone. He's either adult or he's like a nerd. So I'm like, yeah, that is a little bit where I'm at, guys.
I understand, man. I respect your ability to tolerate it to some degree because I can't. It gives me mental stress. Like seriously, it raises my blood pressure and I feel like this vein growing in my head whenever Tommy comes onto a stream and just takes it over and stuff like that. Like there's like this part of my brain that verges on aneurysm. Where I feel this vein that's just going to explode, and I can't just because I don't even necessarily disagree with all the things he says. He doesn't even necessarily say all bad things. It's just that he won't let anyone else talk.
Well,
that's what I get upset about. That's it.
Well, if you go and watch Tommy on his troll shows, he actually admits that he's purposefully misrepresenting himself. So he's actually consciously. I mean, whether or not people see it this way or know that Tommy's doing this, he's actually consciously trolling the audience in terms of he is practicing like sort of dissimulation in the way that and he's actually admitted to this on other shows, that he will try to lay claims out that are small and insignificant but untrue, so that people will get distracted and try to fight those instead of going after the big issues.
What's the point? What's the point of that? What's the good? What's the good in that?
Distraction and to create intrigue between other groups, so to get like two different channels feuding with each other.
What's the point? Like, I don't.
Like he'll go on my channel and talk about the drama he's having on another channel. Like he does this all the time.
Yeah, he's a drama queen.
Yeah,
I don't get the point. Like, I don't respect his tactic. I don't see the point of it. And it seems like something that only somebody as terminally online as him would even be motivated to do.
Well, those people will then come on my channel and then come start squawking and barking at each other, and then I'll just come and I'll moderate this exchange, in a way, but really I'll just let it happen because I'm not willing to moderate a nonsense exchange, right? So I'll just go ahead and just let it happen. But then after it's all done, my audience has grown, and then I start talking about philosophy. Now, out of the audience that grew, almost nobody wants to hear about philosophy now. They just want the drama to keep going, but 2 or 3 people out of those people will want to hear about it, and I'll get them over, and they'll be like, what is the point of all this drama? When we could start talking about this deep shit. That's really like the juice of the fucking, our purpose of life. Of
it's like you're trying to like purify gold by fire. You're trying to like heat it up so much.
Essentially, yeah.
I'd rather just get to the gold, not have to go through the fire. But Tommy mostly seems to me preoccupied over whether people think he's a pedophile or not.
Yeah, and he's
very, very self-absorbed. He doesn't have some grand message he's trying to get out there.
But
himself.
He put a lot of that information out there. So he seeded the information so that people would react to it, so that he can formulate a response to get the discussion. Whatever discussion is going on.
It's pointless. Like that's, I don't know. He's a Spurg anyway, so whatever.
It just is what it because
it seems so dumb. Like what a waste of time to me. Why don't you just go in there? Talk about something constructive.
Well, I mean, it is a waste of time unless you notice, like, on what a grand scale, like, it's happening, I
don't take it that seriously.
And that, but these guys have whole channels and whole discords of people that go on other people's channels and do this and collaborate to go and do this. So it's like a network. It's like there's networks of trolls online.
Yeah, that's what it does seem that way.
Yeah, and some of them are run by the NSA, for lack of a better term. It's like a lot of them are being run by the NSA to collect information in order to honeypot people.
Me and Jack and Adaptable actually have had conversations like where I have personally expressed concern that some of those trolls that are like that, I feel like sometimes that the way they talk and chat and stuff, it's like they're trying to radicalize people.
Yeah.
I'm actually worried about that. I mean,
exactly. They are.
Radicalize them into what? I mean, they might be, but into
radicalize
what?
them towards violence. I'm seriously like encouraging people towards being violent.
They have done that. They have done that on Discord. There's been a number of salient court cases on Discord of agents inciting people to admit to wanting to commit violent acts and then arresting them for it.
Yeah.
So
that's what happened. That's what happened with the Gretchen Whitmer case. Long ago.
Exactly.
The FBI was like, all those guys got off. All those guys got completely the case got dismissed because it came out that the FBI was entirely the force behind the entire plot. They came up with a plot. They convinced people to do it. They did everything. They did everything in except for and the guys that were actually that got arrested originally didn't even want to do it. They were just doing it because they were they felt pressured by these FBI agents that were created the whole thing. And I've been worried about that about that in your chat because small. It wasn't it wasn't like a big influential group. It was like a really tiny little group of people.
I have a friend. I have a friend in my chat called Truther Cop. I don't know if you guys have.
I've seen some of his stuff. He seems okay.
That's what his entire last few shows and stuff have been about. And then when he came on my show last time, we did a whole expose on this type of stuff. And right then my stream got porn bombed. So wouldn't you know that is exactly when we were talking about this and my stream actually got targeted. So I mean, it's not a crazy jump of leap of logic to believe that that this is actually going on a mass scale, because even by talking about it, you get targeted or somebody will come and target you for some reason. So like if you go back and watch that stream, because I republished that stream, the Doodle Bob Part 2, the birthday stream that I did. Without the P-bomb and all of that stuff, that's exactly what me and Truther Cop were talking about. These kind of troll groups online and these groups and exactly the group I was talking about when I got P-bombed. I go on there and it's Aluma Tommy talking about how he practices dissimulation, within these groups. And I was shocked. I was like, here's Aluma Tommy admitting what everybody says they think he's doing.
Has Doodle Bob moved on from his fixation with you and Trad?
Well, he had a really horrible debate the other day,
with who?
with the Gnostic informant. Just
that guy. I didn't see that. No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, looping
I
debate.
subscribed to Gnostic Informant, but I didn't see. I'm not sure of Doodle Bob, so I didn't see that.
Yeah, you guys should go check it out because it went terribly. The same
garbage on his channel. Let me look.
The same garbage again. Tag argument down your throat.
I've seen the name or heard the name Doodle Bob, but I don't really know it, so I don't really know.
That's Jim Bob, but he calls him Doodle Bob.
Jim Bob. Okay. So Jim Bob's one of these characters that I hear about a lot about. But I've never actually watched one of their shows. I've never seen them on.
He's one of Andrew's buddies.
Yeah, he's bought out by these people. He's psyoped by the Crucible.
Oh, he did something on the Satan Club. I'll take a look at that one.
Yeah, he's also
trying to find what was it called? Gnostic
Informant.
Gnostic Informant. Yeah, I'm subscribed to Gnostic Informant. I've seen videos for him before.
Yeah, he used to be in jail, so he might be a real informant, if you know what I mean.
For real. I had that girl that nearly destroyed my entire fucking life. She got arrested at one point and then got out the next morning. She got arrested with meth and heroin on her, and I saw it on the court on the city court's website what she was accused of, and according to the what was on the court website, she should have been in jail for like 20 years, and then she got off the next morning, and like she told me that she was like that they just came to her and basically said like you want to. So I know that shit happens. Like it's not a conspiracy. Like people really do. They get arrested for something, and then the cops come in. They're like, okay, so you got to turn in this number of people in the next year, or you're going back to jail.
That's right.
And so like that kind of shit happens. It's completely real. I mean, like so it just depends on what level they happen to be on when they do it. In her case,
why would they target nobodies like us, like the crowd that hangs out on YouTube?
Well, it's because they're the ones who. It's because they distribute the drugs themselves to surveil people. You know, so that would be the only way. That they first put the drugs out there, then they watch where they go, then they watch the network set themselves up, then they go get one person out of the network, and they get everybody to turn in everybody in their network. They literally
on YouTube.
Well, on YouTube.
I'm talking about real life. I'm talking about IRL, but yes, I think it makes sense that it would translate to YouTube.
Oh, IRL, yeah, but like on YouTube, why would there be agents trying
That's
to?
What I was saying.
People?
That's what I was saying to somebody. You know, like I was explaining like the type of stuff online, like the trolling and all that type of stuff online to somebody, and she said, yeah, that type of shit happens. You know, in the streets all the time. And I was like, yeah, of course. Like somebody will try to intentionally start a conflict with somebody because they know it'll start a conflict with like 3 other people, you know, and they're not really, you know, they're just looking to exploit the situation. In other words, they're not looking to gain anything from starting the conflict itself.
There's really complicated social dynamics that take place amongst all these things that we don't even realize that we know, but we notice these things when we are in real life. And we're in these social situations that you do recognize that even though you don't think that way, if you did think that way, if you were thinking about ways that you could like manipulate people, if you had that kind of mentality, you can see how you could do it. And it's like I've noticed it myself. I've seen it myself because after hearing that kind of thing, I've noticed it. Like, you know, if I did this right now, I could like instigate these people to defend this or whatever, you know.
That's
I guess my mind doesn't work that way, but I'm sure that happens. I'm just wondering why, like, FBI agents would be doing it. Like, it seems like such a waste of resources.
No, I told NeuroJack.
Why did they do the Gretchen Whitmer thing? Why did they? I mean, that really happened.
But yeah, but the Gretchen Whitmer, she was the governor of Michigan. The people on these panels are nobody. What are they going to do? Do a plot to kidnap Jim Bob or something? What's
the people
the
they pulled
point?
in that were nobodies. They were just guys that just had like regular working class.
Yeah,
jobs.
but the target was not a nobody. Why would FBI agents be hanging out on like Flow State or Jack Talcott's stream to target one of the people that chat in the comments?
To get them into one of those online groups, you know, to get like for example, you know, the guy, you know, with 200,000 subscribers just comes on Flow State's panel, you know, to demonstrate that like you shouldn't say bad things about him, but then he also says we could have people come and raid your chat and boost up your channel and make sure your channel, nobody can take your channel down. So it sounds like he's like offering him like a business partnership, you know, in a way. You know what I mean?
Which guy was this?
Montegraph, you know.
So, that old guy, that old crazy guy.
I don't.
He's nuts.
I mean, do you know
How
a lot of
old?
Have
200-something thousand.
Do you know a lot of exactly? Do you know a lot of old crazy guys with 200,000 subscribers? You know, he's likely not an old crazy guy.
Is that the guy that came on our panel?
Montegraph, the Montegraph I've seen is
that the guy that came on our panel, Jeff?
Huh?
No, he's being purposefully vague in the information he presents because he's trying to avoid penalties. You know, and he knows what he can say and what he can't say. You know, so he appears to be none the wiser. But I mean, why would a guy like that go up on a bunch of different panels? And their mods were sending me messages on Twitter like, "Oh, if you associate with these people, like, we'll take your channel down." You know, and also sending these messages to Jack Talcott. So,
well, I want them to try something like that with me.
Well, it just is what it is that you know, these people try to either like, you know, but like it just seemed like either like you know, and the same thing with the Crucible. He's like, look, you slandered Jay Dyer, apologize publicly or I'll make this public hit piece on you.
Yeah, that
it's like, what the fuck? It's like,
I believe all of that. I just don't think it's FBI agents that would
and then it's like
people with no lives.
those other people that were trolling me, like they're now fully like you know taking it, balls deep from all Crucible and Jim Bob and all these people. They're going 100% with their talking points. And
I noticed that Chalk Body is like all but disappeared.
yeah, Chalk Body's gone, but EBT and TBE, they just sit there and watch the Crucible videos and like talk about how great it is, and you know what I mean. That's literally like all they're good for. They're like psyoped by the Crucible, So like this is kind of an example of what I'm saying is like they get these groups so that they lose the ability to think for themselves. Get them into one camp or another. So then, like, basically, it's like, once you're part of one of these online groups, they're surveilling the whole group. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. But if you're just like the Machine Lives, who's like doing his own thing over here and just like making up his own narrative, well, then what's to say I won't try to condition people into believing my own narrative and make a club out of it? And then people will, I'll create this subgroup within society. And that's a danger. Why should there be people that have their own ideas within a society? That's a danger to the people who run the society.
No,
So
I think it's a health to society.
maybe. I know. I usually concur with you, but there's very educated people who don't think that way. Like, like people who believe that there should be a social hierarchy. People like
there is one, whether they believe it or not. Hierarchies are gonna always form somehow.
Yeah, but not natural ones. We're talking about ones that are imposed.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're talking about like natural hierarchies and people, fight their way through the ranks.
No, not imposed hierarchies. They should be
Exactly.
voluntary.
Exactly. And of course, you look at complex adaptive systems, and there are natural hierarchies that bubble up, and they are very effective. But these are not those ones. These are like shitty ones.
So it's like wannabe gangs or cult leaders. It's trying to consolidate some kind of little power base.
It's more sinister than that, because it's like a cult that's parading itself as an anti-cult. You know what I mean? So it's like double binded, because it's like the only way you can defeat cultism is through this anti-cult ideology, and then they sell it to you. You know what I mean?
Then that becomes a new cult. It's like a counter cult.
That is what the Crucible is. I mean, let's not lie. I mean, let's not mince words here. I mean, that is what it's like. It's like we have this ideology that defeats all cults. So join us. So that you don't have to be part of any cult. It's like it's like, okay.
And they're so cultish. It's just weird that they even like sell that at all, because they're so cultish and weird.
It's like, okay, like,
Well, that was never why I get involved with the Crucible. So I didn't find like they didn't try any of that with me. But if it's happening, like lately, all they do is hang out on TikTok. They don't even do their discussions.
Well, I was there the first day. Gen X Jeff. When you were in there the first day, I was there. In the voice chat in the Crucible, we literally met that day. Because you had your debate.
Debate with Andrew. That was the first time I didn't even know what the Crucible was.
And what were they trying to do? They were trying to pit me against you. They were like, we have a Muslim and a Satanist. Let's just have them debate now.
They were doing that. I forgot who was all in there, but they were doing that there was a lot of people in there doing that. Like,
and I was
they had
like,
the Bros, they had a few Catholics, a Muslim, and they were trying to get all the religions against each other.
Exactly. So I was like, you know what? I'm like, and even through all that, I was like, you know what? Certain amount of this type of argument or this type of debate is completely dishonest, because these guys are not understanding what Satanism really is. And that's why I was clarifying, just what you mean when you say that. And then I kept going. And then once you explained it to them, they didn't even know what the fuck you were talking about. So then they were just lost at sea, because they had been fighting against essentially a straw man, that they painted, that you like worship this guy named Satan, which is like,
I explained all that on Andrew's show even before that, but they kept saying, like, they kept
listeners. Yeah, they're in the
mischaracterizing like they pulled in the Satanic Temple site and kept asking me, "Do you believe this?" And I said, "I'm not Satanic Temple." But then they kept trying to use what was on the site against me as though I believed it when I got through telling them that I didn't.
Exactly. So it's like they'll, you know, like they literally said, you know, Islam is Gnosticism. So imagine me.
Islam came like centuries later.
But yeah, but imagine me explaining, you know, what Chris just explained to Sofia, and then and also defending Islam. Like it's like what? It's like where do I go from? It's like you're not even making a coherent point against me for me to, you know, actually rebut. You know what I mean? So
I understand what you're saying. I do.
Yeah, so like you know, but that was my first debate on their complete joke. You know, but
yeah. I maybe I should go back and watch that. I'm kind of curious now about that one. I've never really like actually watched a Crucible debate beyond like the one me and Jeff watched.
The one that he did with Andrew is really fun. They just go at it. It's like bloodbath the whole time.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
You dumb motherfucking cocksucker. You retarded bitch. That's not what I said.
Yeah, well, I was waiting for him to call me stupid or dumb because I knew it was gonna happen like within the first 30 minutes, and I was like, I'm just gonna
everybody's fucking retarded to hit.
and I was like, all right, I know how to trigger this guy, so I just kept fucking like every time he would insult me, I hit him with like 2 insults. It was funny, yeah. And I was on mushrooms, so I was feeling a little.
Oh, were you? I didn't pick on that.
Dude, I would not have been able to do that, dude. I would have been like,
yeah, I did it on purpose because I was like, let me and it's the first debate I never wrote an opening statement for. I just went, you know. So I was just like, I'll just
did it feel like the debate lasted for like 3 years, like when you're on mushrooms like that. I'm curious, like because like mushrooms like has a time dilation effect where like makes time seem like it goes away really fast. So that debate feel like it went on forever for you, or was it just seem like normal?
Well, I had like 6 or 7 blunts that I had rolled up. So by the time I got to like my 7th blunt, because I was counting times by blunts, so it was like, so by the time it got to the question and answer section, I was like on my like 7th blunt. You know what I mean? So and it was all sativa. So I was like,
oh my God.
I was like, this debate was literally 7 blunts long. You know what I mean? You know, was, like no awareness of time. But yeah, I was like, I was blowed. By the time they got to the question and answer section, I was not even in this world anymore. I was like, whoa, you know.
And Casimir debated, so that was another thing that made it so common. Was him trying to wrangle the two of you.
Oh my God. Yeah. I actually got mad at Casimir that time. I told him, I said, why are you interfering? Because he wanted to clarify a question for Andrew. And I was like, I'm pretty sure he could have asked me that. You know, you didn't have to like go ahead be like, oh, let me clarify this point for Andrew Wilson. It's like, yeah. This is turning out to be not so unbiased. You know.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of I just bookmarked that link, so I'll check that out later. But yeah, I mean, that's just like that's crazy, dude. There's so much weirdness that happens in like this tiny little like YouTube space, you know, like the. But like I mean, like anytime like the FBI, the whatever have I don't kind of think avoid them as tiny little groups. They're not on anyone's radar, that aren't having any like major influence. That's always who they go after. You know, it kind of makes sense because like if they went after bigger groups, like if they went after like always went after Proud Boys or something like that, it'd be easier to get them caught. You know.
Well, it's just like if you went to the ideas of my show, if you went and turned in a report to the FBI and you said, okay, this show right here, The Machine Lies, it's about Islam and it's against technology. The FBI would be like, that's probably pretty serious. You know, like if people formed an organization around those ideas, like they probably wouldn't like it so much, So like, it's probably good that it's just me, because the thing is that if that is so so ideologically dissimilar to anything that anyone represents, that it's a literal warlock, I mean,
You kind of look like a warlock, dude. You do kind of. You look a little like Merlin, You got like the long hair and like the beard and everything, You're like
Yeah.
Muslim Merlin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your microphone is like a wand, Like you're like,
Yeah.
Oh, look, another friend.
Oh, look at that. I messaged Jack just a minute ago to let him know that we were on here with you, Mel. So, hey man, how's it going?
Yeah, I heard the last few minutes, and I figured, I'm already on the gallows pole. I might as well.
Why are you on the gallows pole?
They wouldn't let him ask his question last time on the Crucible. They threw him in the back.
What?
That's communicated.
I don't know 100% that it was on purpose, but I would have.
I mean, they know how to moderate stream. Like, they know how to work StreamYard. How do you accidentally backstage somebody?
Well, he knew I was there for like 45 minutes. And the thing is, like, I would never go and try to ruin his stream, even if he doesn't like me or even if I didn't like him. Like, I don't do that to people. So, it is what it is. Like, I think that what I was going to say would have been very interesting to a lot of people if they were actually listening to what I was saying. But it wouldn't have been like a troll. It would have been very much on topic, because I felt that I needed to call in, because it's like, I want to see very good conversation. And I just felt that whole conversation was like, man, it was just so under capitalized on. Like, there was so much stuff that they just said in passing, and it's like they didn't even catch each other on like foundational parts that they could have both like went in on each other on, right? And it to me, it's like I hate seeing that.
Which one was this?
This is the one with Gnostic Informant and
and Jim Bob.
Yeah, because the whole point of that thing is a very important topic, which is secular ethics versus
yeah, I'll put the link for that.
Secular ethics versus Christian ethics, and they both made very interesting points, but it's like, I don't think they were actually listening to each other, because I think they could have really both totally tore each other down. And I was basically trying to tear both of them up and down at the same time, so that there would be a round two, maybe with somebody different on the same topic. You know what I mean? Like, that's what.
But you know how the framing was wrong, right? Like, in terms of the way Gnostic Informant presented Plato and Aristotle as quote unquote secular.
Oh no, that's a great point, and I think that.
Well, they are relative to Greek religion.
Yeah,
I guess Plato had his mystical rationalism. Aristotle was pretty.
That's what it is. It's mystical. It's too mystical to be quote unquote secular.
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess it's.
Well, and actually, that's what Gnostic Informant opened with in a sense, but he obviously didn't want to admit that it is mystical. But in other words, he was kind of admitting that. I don't want to give away too much, because I do want to make a whole thing about this, but
yeah, I mean, and Jim Bob could have defeated him with one sentence, as I just gave, but he danced around with his precept nonsense, Kantian horseradish that cannot be proved in this world. You know what I mean?
Well, and look, I use a lot of Gnostic Informant in my videos, and there's a reason why. He covers a lot of historical and I guess mythological stuff that is very relevant to Christianity, and he didn't use any of it that I saw. I mean, I didn't watch the whole debate, but I watched enough to see that he didn't really use his knowledge for an attack, and I was just kind of shocked by that. Like, he was kind of on the fence the whole time.
Do you know the Myth Vision channel, Neuro?
Yeah, dude, I was trying to tell these guys to get a hold of Giorgiani, Gnostic Informant, Myth Vision 8 months ago. Before I even met you, I was telling these dudes, you guys need to go after these dudes because they're totally trying to destroy Christianity. Mythicist. I mean, I didn't know you called it mythicist, but I just said from a historical standpoint, they were basically.
That's who created the Gnostic Informant channel.
Oh, I'm in their Facebook group for some reason. I don't even know how I found them. Myth Vision.
Oh man, get them on the Machine Lies, man, or on your show or something, man. Like, I would love.
I tried to message him. He's not interested in talking to me because I'm Muslim and I take a Orthodox approach to Islam. They're not interested in talking to Orthodox Muslims.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know what the difference between Orthodox is. I mean, well, I don't even know enough about Islam, but if it's anything like Orthodox Christianity,
well, there is no such thing as really unorthodox Islam.
Right.
Well,
see, this is where like I thought I would have a lot in common with these Orthodox Christians because like, oh, they actually care about the history of the church, and I think some of them do, but I think in general, it's like whenever you start bringing up historical or theological arguments, like you get excommunicated from the group, and it's like, well,
because I read the books, I read the books of the Sufis that they claim are like, crazy, like in line with like Gnosticism and stuff, and these guys like prayed 5 times a day. They like followed Sharia law, like, they were like hardcore. Yeah, they were mystical. They had philosophical tracts and stuff, and they did like spiritual practices, but they still followed like all of Islam. So I just think
and that's the thing I'm bringing up with the Christians is like, okay, there's all this mystical stuff, and I'm like, just embrace it and admit to it. Why do we have to hide it? It's like, because and like the thing is, like, I always try to get into like they always bring up the Shriners for Islam, but I'm like, Shriners are a higher level of Freemasonry, which is, a lot of Christians are in that, right? So like, and it came out of the Knights Templar. It's like, why don't we talk about that shit? Like,
okay, you're talking about the old men that ride the little toy cars and the parades and the little motorcycles. They're somehow involved in a conspiracy now too.
Actually, technically, to be a Shriner, you must be a 33rd degree or a 3rd degree Mason. It depends on the Shriner group. There's different Shriner groups. There's different Freemasonry groups, but some Freemasonry temples only have the 3 degrees. That's where you get the term the 3rd degree from, because the 3rd degree is like, when someone gets the 3rd degree, it means they're getting the highest level of like interrogation. But then there's also the ones that follow the Scottish Rite, which have 33 degrees. And then and in order to be a Shriner, depending on like the area that you're in, you either have to be a 3rd degree Mason from the York Rite, or you have to be a 33 degree Mason from the Scotch Rite.
This is all too much.
And then you can get invited into the Shriners, and it becomes and you become a different level. They have their own and they're actually very secretive in terms of the fact that there's never been any leaks in terms of like what the Shriners like real beliefs are beyond the fact that you have to be a Mason or at that degree. So they're kind of a mystery.
Well, and look, people wonder about like Louis Farrakhan and shit like that. Like, that dude is being informed by some very interesting sources that are rejected by people publicly, but yet privately they don't reject those sources. So I'm not going to try to get into it just because I don't know who knows what and who's involved in what, but I'm just saying, it's like, if you start looking and understanding what these people believe, for the Black representatives, for the white representatives, for the Christian representatives, for the Jewish representatives, for the Islam representatives that are presented as leaders, quote unquote, of these movements, it's kind of like, okay, so you guys believe in some very mystical stuff, and Christians are supposed to believe in mystical stuff that reject those mystical things, right? So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to be vague on purpose because, like, I don't know. It's like you can't really discuss these things and people just get really upset with you.
Why are you trying to be vague on purpose? I doubt there's any FBI agents looking at us.
Well, I'm not. I mean, that's
we've said some pretty bait like stuff on this show. I think Gen X Jeff might want to private this one particular stream. It's like we're just like,
as long as
we're on some deadly shit this time. Yeah, we were on some like I think before you showed up, Neuro, we were on some We were talking about some
No,
crazy spy stuff. 007.
I caught a little bit of it, and I just that's why I said like I'm walking on the gallows pole. I'm pretty sure at this point because I mean like
What? Yeah. Oh my god.
Neuro's like 2 cents.
If there's any agents out there watching, y'all come on, talk to us about it.
Yeah, Neuro, you got to lay it all on the table one day. You know?
Yeah, I mean the thing is like I don't really know what's going on, but I just know that it's like people have reacted very strangely to stuff that should be like we're all on the same team, right, guys?
People like normal, ordinary people that are not agents react strangely to stuff all the time.
No, that's exactly what I mean. Is like it, you could pass it off either way, I guess. But my point is, it's like if everybody's supposed to be on the same team, like, hey, we're Team Christian, or hey, we're Team American, or hey, we're team.
That's not the
But
team they're on.
like even Team Christian has been fighting for like hundreds of years about Christianity. Like Team Christian's not even unified, much less any of the other ones.
Well, see, this is actually I'm glad you bring that up because this is something that I have brought up as like a general thing many, many times over the past year as a friendly thing. And people took it like I'm trolling. It's like, well, when should Christians A, fight at all, B, fight each other, and C, fight to defend, and D, fight as an offensive thing, right? And then when you start looking at people's justification for it, it's like, there's very little Christian theology being incorporated into that. And so I'm like, okay, well, I can make a secular argument for ethics that is better than yours, and I can make a theological argument that's better than yours, and yet you don't want to discuss it or even tell me that I'm wrong. So it's like, okay, so why is that? Like, to me, it's like, it's very odd.
It's because like this thing, Christianity or something like that, or let's say Islam, it is actually not, determined, by human actions, but in a sense, it's ideologically pure, and in that sense, you know what I mean? It exists like apart from human actions, because you could look at something in terms of doctrine, and in terms of that doctrine, it's fixed. That means that across a variety of variations of what it means to be a Christian to any particular person, they all follow a similar set of beliefs, and you can probably enumerate what those are, and you can do the same thing with Muslims, so you could say, well, there's a bare minimum of beliefs that it takes to follow this particular set, but nobody follows it fully is the thing, and the way you ideologically came to the conclusion that you should use this external doctrinal tool, such as Christianity, is through a different ideological set of beliefs than the other Christians came to. And there are groups that, may or may not align to your ideological set of beliefs you use to get to your Christian thing. But the thing is that this thing exists external to you, a purified doctrine that not only do you seek out, but you use, whether or not you've sought it out yet, you still use it, in order to organize the world, or your view of the world. And in that sense, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is that ideas are like, in a sense, they're like tools that we use, in order to change or modify the way we either view our reality or our experience of it,
No, that's exactly what I said. And I often have used this term many, many times on Jim Bob specifically, but on other places as well, of I see religion in ideas as well, but I always use the term religion as well as a lens, right? It's a way that you view a problem that helps you A, determine what the problem is, B, how does it relate to you, and C, how do you approach it, and D, what are your goals, and how do they fit with your teleology or your purpose or your ethics or your whatever, right? So,
but see, these people got there differently. They got there way differently than how you got there,
And if you had to guess, which way would you say that is?
I'd say that your way is through like what it means to be a Christian, and their way is through like what you can do if you were a Christian. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
That is a very good way to put it. Well, and like I have no problem admitting it's like I literally use like Aristotelian secular ethics via like someone like Stefan Molyneux and use that as a lens. But that's the thing is like, you know, I don't mind using Aristotelian, but I don't try to drag it into my theology wholesale either. Like I'm using two different lenses to look at the same problem. And I'm not saying I'm trying to create a synthesis with it, but what I'm looking, I don't mind evaluating things on two sides. And if I can't find a full answer, I'm okay with that, right? But at least I'm willing to admit that I don't have a fully solidified worldview, right? But a lot of people that we deal with say that they do, yet they can't explain it in a way which other people can understand. And I find that very odd, right? Like it's like you have the answer regarding these very important issues, yet you'd rather win than make it clear is how I kind of feel about it.
They probably can't. We were talking about this on Paul's show today, that like he believes that something can be true whether you can express it clearly or not. And I'm saying that your inability to express something clearly is a limitation of your linguistic capacity, that there are thinkers and writers that can come along and express it. So if they're not clear on their worldview, they're just not clear on their own thinking.
Right. Well, and I think that's another
because someone that was really clear on their worldview could express it linguistically.
Well, and I was kind of having this conversation with my wife today about how you can either use language and rhetoric to clarify what you actually mean, but most people who are good at language at a very high level are usually using it to deceive or obfuscate what they're actually getting at. Because
how do you know that?
Because it's actually very hard to convince people of something that you think is true, like what you were saying about with Paul, right? Like, how much effort does it take to go and modify your belief structure that you want to convince others of to get like a broad message? I mean, why do politicians speak in platitudes, in other words, right? Because it's very hard to actually go and convince somebody of something that's true. It's much easier just to say something that they can generally agree with and not have to worry about the details, because either A, most people aren't smart enough to comprehend, or B, they don't really care as long as they get what.
So it sounds like you're talking about the difference between like logos and pathos or ethos. And it's very easy to logically convince people of things if you lay out a convincing argument for it. But if most people are not going to respond to logos, then I guess you have to use pathos or ethos, and rhetoric would be one means of getting them to adopt a belief through pathos.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people pretend that they care about ethos, but I think at the end of the day, most people are really running off of pathos. Like if they get to feel as if they're good, it doesn't really matter if they actually are good. Does that make sense?
In the speaker or the audience, the hearer?
Either or.
We just watched the beginning of the show, Jeff. Like that's what that girl was talking about. She was saying that feelings are the only thing that matter. Remember?
Yeah, she said they're the only things that real. Yeah, she's total pathos. I mean, pathos. Because ethos is just like it's the appeal to authority or attempt to establish your credibility or yourself as an authority or expertise. Pathos is the emotion, like trying to appeal to the emotions.
There was like this bald-headed girl that was arguing with some like people with MAGA hats on.
Yeah, and they were trying to be logical.
And they were being logical, and she was saying the only thing that matters is it was like a couple of black guys.
So I only rely on logic because I try to find people to talk to that also respond to logic and like agree to or have their conversations based on the rules of logic. So every time I'm talking but even people like Paul, he doesn't always go off of logic. Sometimes he's using intuition or emotional reasoning or whatever, but I always think people are being logical, and that's what throws me off. But so I guess we're like, when you say like people are, you never know if they're being rhetorical or if they're actually trying to tell you the truth.
Well,
We're probably talking to different types of people, because I always assume people are trying to express what they believe to be true. I just take that part at their word.
There's four of them, in terms of the Greek kind of thing. There's logos, there's thumos.
What's thumo? That's part of pathos, right? The emotions, the seat of the emotion, anger.
I think it's different. I actually don't
the fire in the belly.
I actually don't have pathos. I just put that into eros, because eros is more like definitional, because that kind of brings in feelings and everything else,
that's what I was trying to get at with Hank, because I think that's what I'm kind of alluding to, is like, if you can figure out how to, I was thinking about this very deeply last night, actually, about, how they use the term biohacking, about trying to do things to your body to make it better. But I think biohacking is actually what I was talking about with Hank, which is discovering what people want or desire and using it as a weapon against them, because they're unaware of those mechanisms which make them feel that way or help them get to a goal. And this is coming out of sales. Like, when you're in sales, you don't, my boss used to tell me all the time, perception is reality. It doesn't mean literally perception is reality, but to the person that you're speaking to, you don't try and go in and say, you're wrong, you're fucking stupid, blah, 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 blah. You have to meet them where they're at and get them to where you want them to go. And the only way you're going to get there is by agreeing with them. Now, you're not going to get every single customer that way, but in general, you have to take that approach, because you have to see what they feel, and B, more importantly, like you said, eros, what do they desire? And you have to try to deliver that to them in a way they can understand, right?
Perception might as well be reality.
Pretty much. I mean,
I don't know about that one.
What do you mean?
That's dangerous. Yeah.
Well, but I think that's how people work.
Yeah.
Well, the limits of our reality are the limits of what we perceive it to be.
Our perception sometimes defines reality to some degree.
Well, no, because you can imagine things that you can't see, and sometimes those influence you as well.
Would that be part of perception?
Yeah,
not really, like monsters, and there's philosophical monsters as well.
I think perception is more than just.
But if somebody's perceiving a werewolf, and the lights are off, and in the shadows they perceive a werewolf, but then in their reality there's a werewolf.
What if they say, like, okay, if I die, like, it's just gonna go black, like everything's gonna go black?
Yeah, it will.
Like, they don't know that. But like, the thing is that it still influences everything we do. The belief in nothingness, absolutely nothing, not even thoughts, nothing, just all of this just shutting off. It influences us, but it doesn't. But we can't prove that exists. But yeah, go ahead, Neuro.
We also can't fully imagine it. We have no way. We have no concept of.
That's my working assumption. That's my default assumption, and that is a perception that is my reality. There's no difference between that and what
we only know
I
nothing
believe reality to be.
The thing that we imagine nothingness to be, we don't actually know nothingness at all, because we can't actually.
Like Sofia was on here earlier talking about the Antichrist and the Creator and the afterlife and all, and that she lives in a very different reality, but that's her perception.
Well, but
so her reality is identical to her perception of it, of what she perceives it to be.
But even if
that's just her perception, it's not tied to her reality at all.
It is her reality.
No, because it's just like it's like you could sit in a room, like here we're paying attention to this StreamYard call. The StreamYard call is in a sense our reality, because this is all we're paying attention to. But it's not. That's not true, right?
Or is it? Just kidding.
but yeah, I think. Oh, Neuro fell out. Yeah, he wanted to say something.
Jack's connection broke again. Did you see that? So you see what Somewhere in Time posted, Jeff?
Let me look.
She just posted a video about the Scottish Rite Masonic Cathedral that she filmed in her area.
Oh, there. Yeah, Neuro, what were you gonna say, dude?
Oh no, you're good. Well, I think just to clarify what you guys are talking about, I think what you're both kind of right in a different way, which is that, you know, what I think what you're trying to get at, Machine, is like you're trying to say that, you know, it's not your reality, but it does inform how you behave in the moment, even if it's not directly, like, even if you're not holding
It
on
is your reality.
Well, it affects your behavior in this reality. Like if you think nothing's coming after you die and it's just blackness and nothingness, you know, whatever your concept of that is, it does inform your behavior now, right? And just like if you think there's an afterlife and that's everything that matters, then it does affect how you act now. And like this is what I'm trying to get at with Christians, and trying to get them to comprehend. It's like, you know, I just don't think that whatever you believe is coming after this thing, you don't know 100%. So you have to act as somebody who doesn't know 100%. That doesn't mean that I'm saying that I don't believe the Bible. What I'm saying is you don't know 100% exactly what's coming, right? So in the meantime, how do we evaluate our actions? If we're at least partially judged on our actions and what we do and what we don't do, how are we to evaluate those things, right?
I think
that's an important question.
I think perception requires duality. You know, and I think duality, in my opinion, dualism, it doesn't work. There's no way in which dualism works because there's a problem of communication of the two halves, you know.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that? How does that relate to what I said? Because I'm genuinely curious.
Well, no. I mean, it's just going off of the perception thing that because I guess because I think what I was trying to point out and what you were kind of explicating was that imagination is different than perception, you know, and I think
that's a good point.
And then a lot of people think that with the perception and the thing that you're perceiving, you know, which is like the I guess the object, you know, because you're the subject, because in perception there's subject and object distinction, you know, so like you're looking at something and the point is that, you know, see what me and Jeff understand, you know, which is why I halfway agree with him, is that this thing that you're looking at, it doesn't really exist outside of you. You know, it's like to a certain extent it exists in your head because like it is how you're looking at it, you know, to a certain extent. But then again, how can you look at something outside of yourself? You know, that's also a question because that is also happening. So the thing is that how does the inside communicate with the outside? And that invents a third thing. So then you have a trinity, you know, because between the perception and what you're perceiving, there has to be
mediator.
Yeah, exactly. A mediator, you know,
that's the trans subjectivity.
That's
like objectivity, subjectivity, and then trans or intersubjectivity. You know, but some would make the case that we perceive with our imagination. That is the organ of perception, and so that resolves the dualism between inside and outside.
Well, no, because then there's the three things. There's the knowledge, there's the knower, and there's the knowing. You know, even when you get to the realm of the imagination, you know, so it's like there's still that, and that's the problem that Plato's dualism has. You know, is that how does the reality, and this is the problem that Neoplatonism basically seek to resolve, is like, how does this higher upper realm, trickle down to this realm of becoming? And the answer was, basically emanation. Essentially, they ascribe some sort of emanationism, and the emanationism happened through this mediation, and the mediative quality was always mind. It's always like, mind, but that presupposes that there's a universal mind. You know what I mean?
So let me, and sorry to interrupt, because I know that Jeff wants to say something, and I'm sure Chris does, and somewhere too. Hello. Let me get this straight. Are you saying that there is a truth in something like the Trinity, but it does ultimately collapse into a universal one at the end anyways? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Hi, somewhere. By the way, welcome.
Well, it's either
Hi, everybody. Jack.
It's either the three or the
Seeing
one.
live.
But yeah,
Chris, Jeff.
bless you somewhere. Yeah.
So you're saying it really doesn't matter at the end of the day, because it all basically is one mind.
It's all monism eventually.
No, I just think if you have two, you have so many relations, because between the relation between A and B, there's relation C. Between the relation of A, B, and C, there's relation D. And it's ad infinitum from there. So you can have.
Yeah, I don't know.
Those are just conceptual divisions.
It's Zeno's paradox, but yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah,
that's a good point. I'm really interested in what you're saying. That I really am. That's really interesting. But I always thought the Trinity kind of solves that. What you're saying, the dualism thing. I agree with you. I think that's the reason why you have that's the reason why the concept of Christ even exists in Christianity, is because it's he is literally listed as the mediator of the
They indeed explained it that way by using Plotinus. Some of the at least I think Saint Eusebius explained it that way explicitly, but by using Plotinus. I believe
basically God is the unknowable, Sophia the wisdom is the knowable, and Christ is the understanding between the two. Is the way that the Trinity ultimately works.
Well, they didn't have a concept of Sophia. What they had was the one the one or the good, the nous or mind, and then they had a third thing called the world soul.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know it's different terminology, but it's the same basic. They feel.
And unlike the Christian Trinity, these were hierarchical. So
okay, well, that's true.
Yeah. So the top one would be the good, and then it trickles down into nous or mind, and then that trickles down into the world soul. So these Christian guys were like, that's unacceptable, because we need the three things that we have that are different from their three things, by the way, on the same plane of existence. We need the co-equal, co-eternal. Exactly, Neuro. He already knows because he studies Christian apologetics.
Well, yeah, I'm studying pretty deep Orthodox theology, and I went to a session yesterday with a priest, and I mean it's pretty fucking intense. I mean it's because again, I think that it is very powerful as a philosophical tool, even if you don't agree with it. I generally think it does seem to be rational to the degree that you can make mysticism
rational. Yeah,
rational.
I get you.
But
it makes narrative sense. That's the thing. It makes narrative sense. Based on logic.
But here's the thing: is it's not making logic as in an Aristotelian way whatsoever, right? You're not able to go and verify things in a Aristotelian.
What's the other kind of ways of logic?
Internal consistency in your logic, I think, is what they're going for.
That's what I mean by narrative. That's what I mean by narrative consistency.
It's just like writing a very good script, which is totally internally consistent. That cannot
not based on reality.
That sounds like aesthetics.
I think you could say that. I mean, and again, you know, I'm trying to be careful because I'm not trying to disrespect Christianity or anything. I'm just saying, like, you know, it is what it is, and I think what it is not is Aristotelian, you know, materialism. I don't think you can do that. But what I'm saying is, if you're trying to have a mystical view of existence, which I think is a valid path to take as a human being, because like the stuff we're talking about, there are limitations on what we can and cannot know. I think I think that if you know, if you're going to do that, it does need to be at least internally consistent. And I think that, you know, the way that they do their theology, and I'm being vague again, not for on purpose, out of respect, not out of holding back something.
Why? With who? Respect for who? Somebody on this panel?
Have to, no, because you have to really, like, I could just go
Jack,
and read
don't
this.
hold back for my sake at all.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, I don't want people to, you know, misconstrue what I'm saying or use it as evidence to say, well, whatever.
Nobody watches us. You don't have anything to worry about.
No,
just say it.
But what I'm saying is this. Here's what I'm trying to get at. You know, they're telling a narrative that is in context extremely important to how they view the world. And I think that if people understood, even someone like Gen X Jeff, if you understood the purpose of what they're trying to, the narrative is trying to tell you.
I understand myth and how myth work, mythology.
Right, but the myth is there to tell you A, about reality, and B, how you should perceive reality, and C, how you should act accordingly with those two things. Right. So, and again, I'm not saying that necessarily you have to agree with it, but what I'm saying is, if you understand that the purpose is there for a reason, to get something, you know, to get you to do something, both as a personal development, but also to actually, like, they actually believe that by taking on this belief system and internalizing it, you're actually changing reality on a metaphysical level. In my opinion, I think that that's kind of what they're trying to tell you, is like, if you want to change metaphysical reality, you need to comprehend, at least on a surface level, and internalize these beliefs, because it's going to allow you to metaphysically change the way the reality is, essentially, into a better way. And this is why I'm kind of frustrated when I talk to these Christians that say that they are Christian, and then I'm like, okay, so how do we use our system to go and create a better reality? They say, well, you can't do that. It's like, well, that's not what your theology says. It says exactly, you are here to change reality. And these people say, well, you can't change it. It's like, that's not what the theology says. So what are you doing? Right? Like, that's what I'm getting at.
This is kind of new to me, that the purpose of Christianity is to change metaphysical realities. So what's the part of the doctrine that you're referring to?
You may not be able to change like everything, but what I'm saying is, like, they see it as you're an emissary of God, and everything you do has an effect that is important, right? Like,
as above, so below, right? Yeah, I got you.
Right, they see you as a important part of, like, you're here to do God's work in some sense or another, right? Like, you do whatever, everything you do. This is what Machine Lies is talking about on multiple streams recently too, is like, everything we do does have a effect, right? Like, and I think that's where the whole free will debate comes up, and I think that that's what Machine Lies is trying to get across to people, that it's, you know, the compatibilism message. And I didn't really understand it until I heard him have that discussion. I can't remember who you had that with, but I thought you did explain that very well recently, and I need to hear it again to really incorporate it into what I'm trying to get at. But I think that
I'll look out. Yeah, I'll look out for you if I could send it to you.
Yeah. Who did you talk about that with, by the way?
I don't know. I think it was either with Sweden or somebody else.
Yeah, I think it might have been with Sweden, but yeah, you had.
But I think it might have also been on the Friday show with Voy.
Yeah, I think it was with Voy. I think it was.
Yeah, because me and Voy had some interesting discussions recently. You know, my Dutch friend, he comes on sometimes early in the morning, and we have some
Oh, he's Dutch.
philosophical conversations. He comes in
No,
the
that's why I
clutch.
like him. I'm pretty sure I'm part
Yeah,
Dutch.
he's the best. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. But yeah, what do you think about what I'm saying here? Does it seem to comport with your understanding of Christianity, or am I totally out of whack? Because
That seems like a very beautiful way to explain the Christian message. Something that I also try to get in, try to have this sort of magnanimity about what I'm doing. Sort of magnificence, kind of quality about because you do want to see yourself as an emissary of the highest order of things, and kind of preserve, like have a sense of purity, like a sense of making yourself a pure vessel to perform the highest service, in the lowest places. You know what I mean? And this concept of kind of raised to be lowered, is kind of how I understand it. That you're raised up high so that you can go down into the deepest depths and really make a pivotal change in that region. Kind of this concept of like this self-deprecating nature that Paul has about like him humbling himself and saying that I was chosen, but still I like fell down beneath to this level so that I could like do something for you fuckers. You know what I mean? Right? So like I kind of like that sort of like that sort of magnanimity, of height, of understanding. But yeah, I dig that. I also found it a beautiful thing about the Gospels when you read it, the poetry there, very moving in that way. I mean, for sure.
I agree for what it's worth. I mean, I think it's a beautiful way of looking at it. I'd say that you said the way I hadn't really fully, I guess, conceptualized it myself before, Jack. But I think that's an interesting way of looking at it.
Huh?
I have to think about it some.
Somewhere, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, Somewhere? Yeah.
Hey there. The first word I came to when he was saying that and talking about machine was ripple, like a ripple effect, like putting the pebble in and then it ripples out. This could be in any arena, depending on the force that's dropping the pebble. So I think over the course of time, being I was raised Catholic with a very large family, but yet breaking my mind free at such a young age because I was a seeker. So seeking is probably one of my favorite words, to continually seek. And there's also the seeks, right? Can you explain seek to me first before I carry on, Machine?
Yeah, this is like a sort of 15th century religion started by a man named Guru Nanak, who traveled to he traveled to Afghanistan. He learned with the gurus and he studied with the Sufis. So he studied many different forms of religion, and he came to the conclusion that you should kind of live a life of simplicity, natural, not cut your hair or shave your beard or do any of that stuff, but like, kind of be a warrior and a saint. So he kind of developed this philosophy of being a warrior saint, being a sober, upright, pure person that is a service to everyone. And the Sikh temples, they have like food for everyone, and they practice lots of chants and stuff like that. And ultimately, it comes from some of the practices of the gurus and some of the practices of the Sufis, but it's a prominent religion in India, especially among the Punjabis, which is actually the people that I come from. I'm a Punjabi, so my ancestors wore turbans, and they were Sikhs. They had long daggers, they carried bejeweled daggers.
Okay, you have just enchanted me. Okay, you just enchanted me. I have been eclipsed to this word, Sikh. Now, this Punjabi, you're gonna just go what? Okay. My last name that I was raised under, which is not my blood, and I found this out in 2019, okay? But this is what I was raised under, was Yugoslavian, but the last name is Pinjuv, but it's actually spelled Pinjuv as in Victor, but they changed it at the border at Nellis Island and to an H, from H to V, because people couldn't pronounce it. And they want to pronounce it Pinjuv, this type of thing. So yes, that now you just brought everything you explained about what it's like studying everything and then coming back to within and knowing your presence, getting your balance, bringing it to a center, and still having the what we would call when I was performing is that peripheral vision, which would be the sword, I think that you're saying. So you are on a warrior's path, nothing's stopping you. This is me, okay? I am this, what you just explained. And I'm not trying to be patting myself on the back, but I've had a journey. And the journey's brought me to where I'm in such a level of trying to understand when I pop in to deal with humans. I have to say that. Like, I don't deal with a lot of humans in the last 20, 25 years. I have secluded within myself, whereas before, my whole life was interacting with humans and touching, we want to say, breathing, whispering through their energy, taking it in, sometimes absorbing it, sometimes deflecting it, sometimes reflecting from them. So there's so many different words we can throw on this, but for me, what you just explained, and that word being seek for me is more like a seeking. I'm always seeking, right? And when I stop seeking, I will probably no longer be alive. That's how I believe. Very, very profound. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, as the prophet said, he said, being this way as a stranger or a traveler, you know, one trying to find their way. And what's the etiquette of a stranger, you know, is that he's over kind of conciliatory because he doesn't understand the customs of the place, you know, because he's strange, you know, but then on another degree, you know, he knows he's not going to stay long. So it doesn't really matter, you know.
This is my career from 17 to 30. I traveled all over the States, all over. Drove it twice. I went to Japan twice. Up in the mountains was my first encounter up in like a hot springs resort with the wood cups, and the women were above the men, and you know, you put on the kimono when you go in, and we performed on the top level. And it was a resort on a very mystical temples, gardens, and this was up in the mountains of Japan. The second time to Tokyo, so more or less in the concrete.
Somewhere you're cutting out a little. You're cutting out a little bit.
Oh, let me unplug and plug back in. Testing.
No. Talk a little bit.
Testing too.
Say a little bit more.
I heard you for a second, but I just heard it for a second, but then it's like cut back out.
It seems to be working.
I'm going to change the. Let me change my earplugs real quick.
It's still doing it.
Click out of StreamYard and come back in. Usually that fixes it. I hate when that happens. That happens to me all the time. I fucking hate that shit.
I know, stupid technology,
stupid
machines.
I know the machine not only lies, it fucks me up.
It don't even fucking work.
That's hilarious.
The machine's lies wouldn't be quite nearly as frustrating if they would just like work when they're supposed to, right? We can tolerate the lies a lot better.
Machine would be a pro. pro computer if it would just work when he needed it to work.
Tell me about a printer.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the printers, I think, lie more than anything. Printers are the worst part of technology. After all these years in computers, we still haven't figured out how to make a printer work properly. I don't buy it. There's a conspiracy there for sure.
Yeah, and machine, you should develop your IT tech guy character as like a character that you do from time to time. Just like and then you just like one day go like Office Space on them and you just drag it out. I'm just joking, but don't do that because that's what all those evil that's what all these racist guys always use against you all the time. So don't actually do it. I'm just saying it would be funny. You were very gracious to do your impression for them though, even though they were trying to use that as a jab at you. I thought that was really funny.
All right, let's see if she works.
Welcome back. Say hi, Juniper.
Hello.
Hello, Juniper. Look at all the people that are here to see you.
Yeah, she recognizes, like, she's looking at machine. She's easier.
Yeah, he's very recognizable. Is it working? Somewhere?
Yeah.
Testing 1, 2.
Sounds good.
Juniper. Come here, you little one. Juniper. Hi. Well, hello. You can't see me. Hi, sweetheart. You hear Greg. Hi. Hello. Hi, sweetheart. I have a granddaughter with that with Juniper's name. That's why. Oh, you did? Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
When we named her, we
It's so
thought that
cute.
we were named like the most unique thing, like that nobody had ever been named that. And then like later after she was born and stuff, like I was looking, I looked it up and I found that there was like there's like a list of the most like there's some website that lists like the common baby names for like just I guess they go through birth certificate records, and the name Juniper was actually like number 97 on the list for 2011 or so, and it had only gotten more popular since then. We're just like, or not, 2021, I mean. And we're like, seriously, I've never met anybody named Juniper before. And we're like, well, I guess that makes sense because like they wouldn't be old enough for us to know them yet. So
my granddaughter's birthday's in 2 days on the 18th, and she was born in 2021.
Yeah, that was the year that I guess it first appeared. It was like all out of nowhere, like people started naming their kids Juniper. It's just crazy.
Yeah, that is something. And same with my children, or even my name being Michael Lynn. There's not a lot, but now there's like Michaela's. There's a lot of for girls. And then my daughter I named Joelle, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, that's kind of like Superman's dad's name, Jor-El." And I was like, "Oh, I never looked at it that way." But yeah, I guess.
I
got Joelle. Yeah. And then my son, I always wanted to name my boy when I was young. I wanted 10 kids, the whole bit, And so like my first boy, I want to name Zach because I just wanted the Z. And then as I got older and I looked at it, I'm like, oh my goodness, I did the same thing you did. And I looked at the list and the boys' names, and in the night, I mean, he just would have been another Zach. There was just so many. So as I'm going through, I find Zane, and I named him Zane. And that came from Zane Grey, who's a Western novelist. He wrote books. And then there was the Zane. There was something Zane who was in the Titanic, and he was an actor. I can't remember his first name, though.
Billy Zane.
There you go. So I kind of whispered across that Z those 2 times because my dad had the whole series of the Zane Grey in our garage. I just remember seeing that name. And so when he came, unfortunately, 9 years later, and I have him, and I have 2 children by the same father, I dated a gentleman maybe a year and 3 months before. His name was Thane, Thane. So you could imagine the father of my kids thinking, and because I had that name, had nothing to do with Thane, nothing. He literally tripped for probably a good 20 years thinking, no way, that's my kid. She had to name it after Thane. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, unless I'm the Virgin Mary herself, I hadn't been with anybody in 9 months when I slept with this man one time, and I had my son. Okay, and we have 2 children together. So it's one of those. It's crazy, crazy.
That's funny. It really is.
It is. It is funny though. So I'll finish up what I was saying to you all, but machine and the Sikh. So from Japan and moving around to Acapulco and then down to Mexico for the Aztec pyramids and getting into the culture, and then going down into Acapulco and completing my contract and being around the islanders, and then living in the Bahamas for a year in Freeport, and then a year in Nassau and the islanders, and then knowing I'm leaving, knowing the guy that I was dating was an islander, and in my heart was like, oh boy, you know, the boats, the fun, you name it, right? But in my mind and in my heart, I knew this guy is not leaving the island, or he will be a fish out of water. So there was no attaching my Leo heart to this man. I knew what it was, and I had my daughter with me. So I have been separate from that since I'm 24 years old. And we won't even get into separating yourself physically from, I mean, I've never been married, I've never lived with a man. So it's a completely different ride for me, the separation I've taken. So when I hear these women, or just I see what goes on, like I was around a cast of them, right? Just women and traveling and people, and they whatever they're doing. It was a different kind of group, adventurous journey, but I was separate. Like I would just backpack and go, get up real early in the morning and go like check out all the gardens and the temples, and like get a bike or whatever it was, just to see it, write it down. I have books on books that I've written but not published, of literally when I woke up, what I did, what I ate, where I went. I have it all written down. And to this day, it's sitting like in my guest room, and it's just this pile of gems to me. But would somebody want to know about the ventures? I mean, I've already named it in my head. It's called Vegas Shuffle, because I was raised in Vegas and then I became a dealer. So, I mean, I could do volume after volume. I probably have like 17 to 20 books, and it's all in handwriting cursive.
Well, see, I just want to mention one thing. That's a very interesting way to live your life. And I've met some people who maybe not exactly to the extent you took it, but you're saying that you basically, you know, never really officially shacked up with one particular man, but you just kind of was happy to have babies by some men that you found intriguing.
No, you have it completely wrong, sir, Jack.
Sorry, I'm trying to understand what you're saying there. Can you? So you
No,
said that you.
At a young age, at 22, I met the father of my 2 children. There's 5 years in between. And I was with one gentleman in between that, was named Thane. I dated him when I was in Reno doing my last show after 13 shows since I was 17.
But you said that you've never lived and been married to a man. Is that what you said though?
Correct. The gentleman that I met when I was 22, it was a marriage of the heart. There was no need for paperwork. He was there, and then I left him twice to go to Japan. And then when he did not pull through, when I was 5 months pregnant and only 10 months living with him, that's the extent of me ever living with a man. After 3 years, I lived with him 10 months. I was pregnant 5, and he chose to dabble in his, I hate labels. Okay. He did what he did. He severed the heart, right? My heart was married to him, and I'm pregnant. He was unwilling, and I don't want to say conform, but I'm nesting, right? You can come home. You don't need to come home at 1. The candles are burnt, the poetry's written, the dinner is cold, and I'm sitting there, and the first thing you do is come in and look at yourself in the mirror and, you know, flex your muscle, and like you're just all that in a bag of chips. Like, that's not the road I need to be on. And at that age, at 24, I could foresee that, because I had already started mentally already getting into being the righteous and the person I need to be. So I believed in it, because I was probably in condition as a child. I went through confirmation. I wore the little white dress. I was a Catholic little schoolgirl, and I thought if you fall in love, that's it. And the man's going to marry, especially if you get pregnant. Like, that was so taboo. against my whole family that I was even there living under this man's roof. So that was almost excommunication there. I mean, they even said to me, one of them, who later, I had 6 older brothers, for a Catholic to tell me like I should consider an abortion, that just was like, to come from my own family member, that was a big lesson for me to learn, because that for me, I would never do that, but I would do everything to be there for my children and raise them. So I did. So they have their father, they'll always have each other. And I was only with him one time because he had said to come after I'd been on the road with my daughter in the Bahamas and then Reno. And he's like, look, come back. She was 4. I'm not with her anymore, which is the woman he's with now, who he cheated on me with, who's complete opposite of me, that came to the States looking for a white man to take care of her. And I hate to say that, but she is Thai. I have no racial forms of anything, but this, you got to consider, is the 90s, and they were buying Russian women. The men were really into finding something that would be submissive, in the sense, let's not get into that too deep. But this went on in the 90s, early 90s. This is what happened to me. The other side of the fence was greener, when in actuality, it was just blossoming on my side. And I knew it. And now that man is miserable. I think I told Jeff this before. But so I'm in a position where I know I made the right choices. I preserved my heart. And then I took care of an elderly father, 17. When that was done and my children were raised in Vegas, I moved out here and bought a home. And I have been on my own for 10 years and alone. And
Are you still there?
contemplating
Oh,
writing my
I
book.
think you had cut out again.
I heard her the whole time.
Yeah, I'm here for
Heard her the
you.
whole time.
Oh, did you? Okay, good. Sorry, I could have been talking. There's nothing going on. I'll shut up. So, yeah, I just want to correct you, Jack. I've only been in love once in my life, and it was a slice of the heart. I was very young. I was 24. I had a vision, and you can take that or leave it, but I'm really into knowing who I am and my meditations and where it can take you, silencing your mind, separating it from your body, and having a creative visualization, we'll call it session. And I foresaw this gentleman and my children, and then also that I was not going to marry at that time. Like, this person wasn't going to support me in the, it did turn around. Like, he tried to use my career that he fell in love with and tried to say, like, what are you going to do if you have children with this type of career? But like, I was proud of my career. I had a beautiful career. I saw the world. I was paid to do it. You know what I mean? There's no shame in it. So it's just a misfortune. It is what it is. But here I am, so separate from that timeline that I don't even know. I'm out here in YouTube world getting to know like different personalities, and it's fascinating to me. I'm taking it in left and right. I'm really enjoying it. And I have no prejudgment on anybody, because that's how separate I am in my mind, knowing I'm okay. I believe in one source, one God, no matter who or what name, whatever anybody puts on. I believe we have a yin, a yang, a good, a bad, up, down. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't ever get into that arena and try and, like, the philosophy side, the understanding the terminology, the words, the breakdown, the changing over, that kind of stuff, that intrigues me, because we all have a history and it's coming from somewhere. It's just, where does it all tie in from? Because we really, in the overreach of everything, we really don't have. We don't. That's why we have faith, right? Without seeing. So within that, you have to go inside yourself and just believe that what you do, what you see, and they've taken the knowledge of how powerful we are and the things that I know I've tapped into. I don't even know how to explain it to people and how they can do it for themselves, to foresee, to practice that and believe in God that you'll get the answers if it's of a pure heart. Just like the Egyptians, when you have the feather and the weight of the heart. That trickles all the way down. That stuff was on the walls before it was on paper. So we have to look at where it really all comes from. and generated from. I think it's pulled from I think it's pulled from all kinds of angles to create what we have today. And now it's just splintered into so many different divisions. I think you've mentioned they call it the Hebronic, what do we have? The Jews, the Muslims, and the Christians.
Well, I just want to mention that
Go ahead.
I do agree with you on a lot of what you're saying, especially that last point. And I think that that's kind of what I'm getting at as well, is like, division is not necessarily bad, but arbitrary division for unclear motives is probably bad, right? So I think that that's kind of a very strong point, like you said, about the weight of the feather and the heart. I think that that is foundational to what Christianity is, right? When you say that it can't, like you said, it was written on Egyptian walls a few thousand years before Christianity, that people say that, oh, well, you're not a Christian. It's like, well, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, different people had different ways of arriving at truth. It doesn't necessarily
the
mean that it's all bad.
basic principles of the rhythm of life is what it is. It's kind of like a dance, if you could read those walls.
Well, and by the way, when I was saying earlier, I wasn't trying to say anything bad about what your experience, but because I think you were mentioning something that I often try to allude to, but I don't talk about very often, about how, like you said that I don't remember the exact story, so I'm not going to try to retell, but you've had intuition about people, including the father of your children, of like, this person I want to have their baby, this person I want to be with, this. But even if like you said, it's not a marriage as per se, but it's you feel connection with people, and you've had I would say what you're alluding to, in my opinion, is supernatural like experiences where you perceive things that aren't quite only your imagination. It's like you just intuitively know things that are hard to explain. Does that make sense?
Yes, exactly. And I actually experienced it. So whatever it was I focused on per se, and would hear, hey, there's a contract coming up and it's in, say, Acapulco. I would be in Atlantic City. I would start 3 months prior to that, and I would just start meditating, prayer, setting out good vibrations. What I try to be is like, let me just relate to everybody, no matter how you get to where you're going and how you do it and what you think it is that gets you there. This is what I did, and I know it works, but it comes from within and then leaning in. So if I was doing this, I would go into, say, putting just on the music of the chimes of Japanese music and the bells, and then maybe blowing some incense, right, of jasmine or ginseng or something.
Yeah, I have that in the I'm in the first episode of Machine Lives. I have the Japanese music. So it's just very relaxing,
Yes. Okay, so like when I went to Acapulco, then I would put literally like coconut oil on me so I could smell it on my skin. I would burn the like a candle and do my meditation with the candle for the smell. And then I would start literally playing like the Mexican type of, even like the ones that come in with they play all the music. I'm forgetting the name of them. Oh, they're so fun. Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, even something like that, just to build the rhythm, to focus into the frequency of what that land offers. And I hadn't been there. I'm just foreseeing what I'm going to fall into, so that it's not foreign to me, so that I'm not questioning it. I'm just accepting it. And that was a tale of its own. You get what I mean? Yeah.
No, this is something that I recommend to a lot of Western people, and they think that it's like a hippie thing or something, but it's like, I use, like, I've been to Thailand, for example, and like if you go to one of these ancient places and you just kind of just lay there for a few hours in a 95-degree heat, and especially if there is some sort of music or something going on. I'm trying to read sage. There you go, sage. And you smell like these flowers, and you know what I mean? Like, you do tap into something that is beyond your normal perception, in my opinion. I mean, not everybody's going to have that experience. I'm just saying, like, it is something that is available to people, I think. And again, that doesn't mean that it's like has to be a religious, quote unquote, but it is supernatural, in my opinion. Like what you're saying is like you're tapping into a higher level of perception.
Agree. And I want to say that I'm very blessed because of the faith that I put into that. I grew up very poor, and we lost my mother, and we didn't have the nurturing. I was raised with like a pack of wolves. So I was a tomboy. So it was a lot of effort for me to become feminine and to narrow that gap, right? To make it centered for me, because I was really leaning male aggressive tendencies, right? Speak up, da da da, in your face. They called me Rat. Like that was my nickname, was Rat, because I was just right, hyper kid. But my mind was able to open up and expand because my mother was not in the picture and everybody else had a mother. So I was a seeker. I wanted to know where the hell she went. I want to know. And out of that deep desire, and I mean, I want to know, boom, I'm there. And I tapped into it at like 12 or 13, and it just does not stop since. And I can tap into it at any time. And it's like I want to say like almost hypnotizing yourself where nothing around you matters. You just be. You just be, and then downloads come in. So this is what I'm kind of trying to get at. It's still hard to explain. It's hard to explain, but I hear what you're saying. And the experience is the senses. So if you're doing the food, you're doing the sounds, the chimes, you're having the visual stimulation, and then you're actually doing your own prayer, and you're going within yourself. Then you pick up the nature and the essence of the people and the beings that are there. You may be of them, but you are with them. So then you absorb that petal that fell into the pond, and now it's rippling, and you're just picking up on that ripple, and you're flowing with it, what I call the rhythm of life, dancing to the rhythm of life. And I'll pass that over.
I understand what you mean by like the where you meditate and you just kind of get these sudden like downloads type thing. I've had the kind of like before. You mean like it's suddenly like a whole bunch of knowledge that seems to like appear in your brain, like it's like this, like it's like it doesn't seem like it came from me really. It's like something just like suddenly like just kind of like it feels like a little like it's like an update happens in your brain or something, like
yeah. The closest I've ever come in a chemical way of describing it is like the first time I ever smoked weed. Like all these connections that I had sitting in the back of my mind like came very quickly together, like in the first 10 seconds, right? And that's kind of what I think is like you're talking about, that you can do in a natural sense of like all these things that seem unconnected, you can just kind of tap in and see like what's really going on.
Yes, sir.
Right.
I've never done any powders or drugs. I have tried them. I have tried LSD, and I have done shrooms, and I would recommend myself to do them again. Last time I did them was 2 years ago, and tapped into something that is a completely another story, and was a quantum level. And I picked up on something, and it just told me what to do, and down came, like, it's a crazy story. But that was 2 years ago last time, and all I do is smoke marijuana. I've never been a drinker. So I do look at it like it's spirits. I've lost 3 really good girlfriends to that. Just on this level, and then I've lost family members to the disease itself, right, or whatever. But because they were on that alcohol, because they were there, they loved me. I loved them as a person. But when they would, it's like their head would spin like Sybil, and out would come some spirit. And I would literally be like, name that spirit, because it would just be like accusing me that I was attracted either to their husband. It was like this jealousy slipped in, and it wasn't proper. and I couldn't be in that friendship, or say they would get their ass kicked and they'd call me to come pick them up because they're in an abusive relationship. Was this where I draw the line? Like, that's never happened to me, right? I can't even see it happening. I would go and get them. Well, by the second or the third time, you can't put yourself in that vulnerable situation. And the girl's heading out and you're getting her and the guy's in your face, and she actually, drops her keys accidentally because he's roughing her, and he picks the keys, kicks her in the butt, throws me. What do? Do I beat up a guy because I know how to fight? No. I get my girl, try to talk to her, but then go back. And this is what I say about the women that shack up. They have to have a boyfriend. They have to be, they've got a few kids, because they weren't able to control themselves or their life, or and I'm not trying to be judgmental. I'm just saying I've just done it completely different. That's just where I'm at in my life. I've just done it so different. Where, well, my children are grown now, right? I mean, they're grown. So I'm on a completely different timeline. That's where I think I'm at. And I'm just trying to figure out what do I do with it? They've put us into this 3-year bubble, and people are kind of conforming into this YouTube thing. We've got different lives rolling all around these channels. I mean, I'm subbing to so many places. I can't be on here that long. It drive me crazy trying to keep up with everybody, because I really, you know what I mean? Like, I really am enjoying them. I'm enjoying the ride, but on some other levels, I have to still, conform to my own life and do what I'm doing and what interests me and keep it alive and keep it moving, right? But I'm finding that this is this technology. Oh, this is what I was going to add. This whole simulation, I never had anything like this because I didn't watch TV. I didn't really go to the movies, but I did buy my son a lot of videotapes, play games, Woo Woo or Wii or whatever all those stuff, Xbox. And now I'm seeing this Z generation coming out with this whole simulation theory and like a video game, and they call people NPCs. Yeah, I know people have been brainwashed, but are we separating people in the sense that, are they just ignorant? Are they still human? Are we dealing with a different bloodline? I mean, this is a whole, the whole game simulation. There's a few channels that, they go deep into that. I know other people talk about their DMT trips, which I've never done. They said that they've peeked beyond the veil and they've seen like a mechanical type thing. So this is something.
I saw that thing.
Go ahead. It
Thing.
interests me.
I saw like these like this like infinite like plane, and there was like these pods on it. And then I like went inside the little pod, and it looked like the pod was like a machine, and it had these like blueprints inside of it. And I remember like I could not read that shit. I was like, this is full of like it looks like it's like blueprints to like something like I don't know how to build, or like something. But the complexity of it was amazing. I've seen these like huge clocks. When I do DMT, there's like these huge giant clocks, these gears turning, and it'll be like some aliens.
That's timed, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I did the DMT and I got nothing but like some bright color shit. That's not fair.
Yeah, I got some of that too. But these colors were like, they were more like stones. Like, it was fucking like it's not just like a color. It's like a damn stone. I mean, I don't know, how to really say it, but it's like 4D like stones.
I'm just saying I'm jealous. Like I like DMT didn't do shit for me. So
yeah. Yeah, I was on mushrooms when I did the last show on the Machine Lives, the live stream. I take them fairly regularly, and I took a lot that day too.
Where there's some people that have like decent shrooms these days, or do you go find them yourself out in the cow pastures?
Well, they just sell them at the shop there, at the smoke shop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where I'm from, they're just selling them at the smoke shop. Yeah,
I didn't know shrooms were legal in Michigan.
In Michigan?
Well,
they're selling.
Well, yeah. Yeah, they just have chocolate bars. So like you just go and buy these chocolate bars, and they have mushrooms inside of them. They don't tell you that there's like psychoactive mushrooms in them because it's not labeled on the package. But usually the mushrooms contained within these bars are psychoactive, or at least like 3 or 4 of them that I've tried. It's definitely mushrooms that's in there. Yeah. because I've
Dang.
taken a lot of mushrooms. I take a lot of.
That's nuts, dude. I had no idea that kind of shit even happened. Like that's like
Yeah, it even smells like mushrooms. Like the chocolate smells like, you know, like it's athlete's foot. You know, it's like, oh, like, this
That's
definitely
funny.
smells like weird,
good.
like bad, like mushroom smell to it.
Even the ones that aren't grown in shit don't
The
smell
fungus
good.
among us.
Yeah, and I was talking to a Christian priest, and I did a fairly good job. You know, I mean, at least according to him. But yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go. I'll go
Holy
back and try
smokes! I think I might have caught like 10 minutes or 15 of that. I think I remember you chit-chatting
Yeah.
that up. I would have no idea you were flying high. Good for you.
Yeah.
You were
Yeah, I think
handling
I
it just
saw you in
fine.
the chat somewhere in time. Yeah,
You-
bless you. Yeah, thank you.
You were smooth. Yeah, good for you. Yeah, I think you can narrow in and focus when you're on that if you like what you did. You were right where you needed to be. You were listening to what, like, you were focusing, and I don't think you were paying too much attention to your chat. You were doing your thing, and I think that probably was a better.
yeah, I can't.
Right?
Yeah, I was not looking
I-
at the chat at all. Yeah, just the
Mhm,
names,
mhm.
not what they were saying. Yeah.
No doubt, man. I'm definitely gonna go to like where'd you go, Jack? But your phone died again? He's in the comments now. He has some Jeff has tried shrooms.
Oh yeah, we used to get them out the cow pastures all the time. I've probably done more shrooms than any other drug, except for weed.
I used to like making tea out of it. Tea was a real mellow way to do them, you know.
Yes.
Like you just like brew
Yeah,
some tea.
we would make like gallons of tea and then throw it all away the next day because we didn't want to look at it anymore. We had done so much of it.
We'd only make like all small pots at a time, just enough for like 2 or 3 cups, you know, and just sip it. Like you really a real mellow like time dilation /
About 2 cups of tea.
Mushrooms were intense for me. Like acid was recreational. I could hang around people and party. Mushrooms were like shamanic, sit in the dark,
I don't like acid.
play your music and
No,
commune with the
yeah,
spirit.
we just chewed our shroomers and just like doused it with something really quick. Like we did it raw. I just remember maybe making pizza one time, but the LSD I did on my graduation day, and my stepmom at the time was kind of like, I need to separate, so she was giving me a month trial run. She said, okay, you go up with your brother. This is how I got out of the house, and if you don't get a job, you know, you got to come back in a month, she said. So graduation day, I come back to the house and I'm tripping. And she bought me luggage and I just start cracking up. Like I couldn't stop laughing. I had to leave the house. Like I was melting. Like my nose, my eyes, I was melting. And she was like, I just remember being like, I was really tripping. But to give me luggage was almost like, thank you so much. But it was her way of like, yeah, get out. You know what I mean? Like, so I got luggage on that day. And I think that was the last day. And then I did it one time when I was on stage about 9 months into the first show. So I was probably 18. And me and my partner that's across the stage, and we're wearing like this huge outfit. Okay, you guys, it's just huge. And we're on the ice skates. All of a sudden, we got to go off the main stage where you're just standing, like you can be on there, right? You stand, then you go get on the ice. I go get on the ice, and my blades are like, yeah, and they're like melting into the ice. And I
Were you
feel
high?
like I'm stuck in, but I was on LSD the last time I ever did it.
Wow.
I was in front of a stage of like 5,000 people. And all of a sudden, I'm like, the stage thinking my blades are like running into the ice and melting. Like, yeah.
Oh my God,
I
I
made
can't
it
even
through though. And
imagine.
she and I are laughing. Oh my gosh, you guys, it was a trip. So that was the last time I did it. I think I was 18. Yeah. It was pretty heavy, but fun.
Yeah, it took.
LSD is very giggly for me too. Like every time I've done LSD, it's
Yeah,
like,
same here.
Yeah, I took this LSD for a year, every month, so I could prevent myself from drinking. And like at the 12th month, I was like, I really rather just drink some alcohol because like I really hated taking LSD. Like it was like a weird pill like that I had to take. And like by the 12th month, I was like, yeah, it's okay if I just like never, you know, just really do this because it just sent me into these thought spirals. I don't know how
Oh
to
yeah.
categorize it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
only
like,
done
I'd
it
go-
twice, so
what?
I've only done it 2 times. So it's not. I haven't done it.
I'd get to like the
neurological
Byrne.
system was firing off way too much and way too long. It's just firing off, and you're a deep thinker. It's probably where you are in the state that you're
It was
at now.
horrible.
The
It
complexity
was
and depth.
horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was horrible. Yeah, it was like
love
just going like I would follow an unanswered question to where it just didn't need to go. And I would be like balls deep in like 3 hours of research at the end of this thing. Like I'm talking about like it would be 6 hours of me coming to some insane conclusion, and then the 3 more hours of me insanely researching that and coming to nowhere, and then being like I can't sleep for like another 12 hours. And then just like it's like, what is the point of this shit?
We must have
Right.
taken the same acid.
Yes, it was like
The acid, I had one acid trip like that, and the other acid trip me and Lindsay did, and like she got some stuff from some guy in Colorado that was like old style hippie acid, and that stuff lasted with like these 2 tiny little paper square tabs. Like we were both like tripping for like 3 days straight. But I mean, and it was literally we didn't realize it'd been 3 days until 3 days had been up.
I was like,
Clover was away with her other grandmother in Colorado, so like she wasn't with us. We were just alone back in Texarkana, and like it's like 3 days went by without us even realizing it. It was insane, and we were just like, I was.
Oh my God, I couldn't imagine. I think my longest has been 12 hours. If I did 3 days, I'd probably be in a hospital and completely hallucinating.
We were not
like out of my
expecting
mind.
it. It was not something. We had it sitting in our drawer for like 2 years too. I didn't even think it would still be effective. I figured it was wrapped in foil, and we had it sitting in this little drawer, and we were like, saving it for like some time we knew we wouldn't have to worry about the kids or anything, right? And we had this. We're like, well, let's take it. We figured it would last for like 8 hours, something like that. Wouldn't be that big of a deal. No, 3 days, 72 hours went by.
totally have no idea what happened.
I mean, yeah, it was insane, but but it was very giggly though. We were very just I was.
God bless you. You're still with us. You're still intact. God bless you.
There's something that wrote down in this notebook during that time period, and I have no idea what they meant. Apparently, they were hilarious whenever we were high, but I have no idea what the stuff meant. I meant all these like jokes that made perfect sense to me when I was high, and they made no sense at the time, that kind of stuff.
Inside jokes.
Yeah, very inside jokes. I don't know. I wrote all these ideas down in this one notebook, and they're just like this list of like sentences that made no comprehensive sense. I guess in my altered state of brain, I guess I thought that would like it would trigger like the memory of whatever I was talking about at the time, but it did not at all. I have no idea what it was about. So. Shrooms are always much more mellow for me. Shrooms were never nearly that much of a mind fuck, but.
Yeah, I love mushrooms. You just like put on some music and just go in like a sort of catatonic state. I take like 5 grams and just go in like a catatonic state for maybe 2 hours, and then when I come out of that state, I get like a very I don't know, I get like a clear like really what it is I get like a weird hallucination, and whatever this hallucination ends up being, I try to like map out what it is like for the next like couple hours or something like that. And I think it's usually beneficial for me, but I can't say the same for LSD. I think it's because they made it in a lab. I don't really trust it. And I've had variable results with the different LSD like tabs that I take. And it's like, yeah, it's something that's produced by human hands, has so much variety in it. You can't really tell how much psilocybin is in a single mushroom, but you know it's a mushroom by looking at it. You can't tell the same with a tab of LSD, like, but just where it was, what else is in it. Can't test the purity of it. I mean, unless you're a chemist, so there's definitely something to that.
No, yeah, we did shrooms like way back when we were in Vegas. The only time I ever done them was when we were in Vegas because we knew somebody that had that grew them, that had hydroponically grown ones.
Oh yeah, you were in Vegas too. Yeah, that's a strange connection between you guys. You know what I mean? It's like Vegas. Yeah, Vegas.
Yeah,
All
probably around the
three of
same
them.
time.
All three of
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. That's fascinating. Yeah, I've never been there
Each other back then
myself.
at all, but yeah, we all. But Jeff even went to Rocky Horror at the same theater that I managed at the time that I was managing it. So we literally had crossed paths at some point.
Ooh, that's crazy. That's wild. Maybe you guys had a deep conversation then. I always think about things like that. You know? I think of
Probably
people.
not.
On these
I
panels.
I usually was very busy, and Rocky Horror Nights were one of our busiest nights of the week, and I was very busy running around trying to keep putting out fires. So I probably didn't have any conversation with anybody. But yeah, I mean, it was. I definitely. It's just that we were in the same building at the same time. It's just crazy, you know.
I've been creeped out. I've been creeped out by people on these panels sometimes, where I'm like the whole time I'm talking to somebody on a panel, I'm like, have I met this person in real life? You know, like, you know, it could have happened, and like they remembered, but I didn't, and they found me somehow. They came on the panel to talk to me again without telling me like who they are. I don't know. I always think about shit like that. But yeah.
No, I mean I've had like you know, synchronicity type shit like that happen my whole life though. Like synchronicity is like, basically the reason that what has convinced me that there's something more to the world than just the material. She is like, yep, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, she's probably like, I seen all you I've seen all you motherfuckers in my dreams. I don't know what you're talking about.
she just like, yeah. Well, she hears us all talking and she wants
Probably does. She's gonna know all about drugs by the time
she's a budding YouTuber. She already makes more sense than a lot of them. So like she's already a better panelist than sorry machine, but Lumitami anyway.
She really is. Like when she's like Juniper and you get her attention, she's like, "Oh, I'm on," and she just and she starts. Look at her. Hi, sweet baby. Hi.
She's got a little, like we found in the parking lot at Walmart, like somebody like dropped like brand new little Hot Wheels cars. We like sanitized and everything, but like it's a little Ford Bronco. We thought it was funny because Lindsay's family, they're huge Broncos fans of the football team. You know, that's funny. They're all the cars she found. She found like some little like tiny Ford Bronco in the parking lot of Walmart. So it was like weird. What you showing us there, machine? I can't tell.
This is what I'll be reading tonight. Boom.
What's it? What's the book? What's it called?
Oh, this is my book. Christ.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you actually have a real published copy of it? That's cool, man.
Oh, I got like a box over there with 20 of them in it.
What? Wait a minute. What is it? I didn't know that. Tell me what it is. The name of it again.
Christ Protagonist or Logos Dethroned. I'll be playing some things because recently a lady named Denise Matu.
Oh, her.
Yeah, she did a review on my book. Did you guys see the review? You know,
no,
I don't watch her stuff.
Yeah,
she's kind of a crazy lady.
Well,
she's the one that fights with Monograph.
Well, she has some interesting, exuberant ideas, you know, but I like her analysis that she did of my book. You know, well, there's no way to unverify her claims, I guess. I'll just put it
she went on, like, she was on Talcott or something with Monograph, and Talcott.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He either said something or he didn't let her completely talk or something. So she left his stream and went to her own channel and started making a stream trashing Jack Talcott while he was streaming.
Yeah, but those other guys came at us on Twitter. So like the people she was talking about and her, both parties came at us. So like at the end of the day, like I didn't know what was going on, and then Jack Talcott, he reacted quite strongly to it. He said, "Well, I'm not having this bullshit," you know. And
I don't blame him. Like the amount of shit that man puts up with.
Yeah, what I said was, I said, well, you know, I'm just gonna let like all parties speak their sides, you know. So I just kind of like let everybody say what they had to say. I asked everybody questions, and I ended up more confused than when I started. But then I'm happy that she reviewed the book. You know?
I think most people do on those panels.
Yeah, but something that having to do with all of these people that were involved with Snafu Snaps and Illumitami and these, it's got something to do with all of these actors. And I just, I don't even want to touch it with a 100-foot pole. I mean, I'm going to talk about medieval philosophy today. It is what it is.
I wonder how many of these people even know each other. These are all internet strangers. Like they have all this drama from people
That
that
has
they've never
turned into one of those things that tumble like a tumbleweed. It's like it's collected a few thorns along the way that are across the internet that kind of are gravitating to that type of need of, I don't even know what you would call it. Like, I don't even know.
It's like they'll go on, they'll be in my chat like talking for hours, and then I'll finally, after 2 hours of my like little like lecture or whatever you want to call it, depending on who you are, I suppose, it'll be like, they'll express what they were expressing in the chat on my panel, and I'll be like, I don't give a fuck, really, guys. Like heads or tails, like it really doesn't matter to me. And then they'll just keep going. So then the result is, like I said before, that those people from those other fucking panels will come on my show, which I'm happy to like meet new people, but like like if you come on the show,
Finding
like
the balance. I understand. Finding the balance for yourself, right? It's your panel. It's your panel.
No, it's not even that. It's just like, just say, hey, my name is this. I watch your show. I like the topics. Your name, The Machine Lies, and like, thank you so much. My name is this. This is what I'm into. Okay, now I'll continue to talk about what I wanted to address in the chat about the people. But not even, it's just like, you're not cordial, motherfucker.
That's
like,
just common respect. That's just the word respect.
It's like, am I chops liver? Like, you're literally on a show called The Machine Lives. You don't even mention the host, or you're just. I just feel like I'm a monkey, So that's kind of the thing where I'm like, it wouldn't be so odd if they didn't just. But a lot of these people, I asked them, what show are you on? They don't even know.
Because they go from panel to panel. They don't even know one panel from the other because all these people keep they go to whatever panel people let them.
So
come on and
I can't even find that many panels. Me and Jack me and Jack one night we were trying to find other panel shows just like in general to see how many we'd find, and I don't even know how you find them because a lot of times YouTube doesn't, the algorithm, even if you search for like live panel shows, something like that, it won't bring up anything. And
there's a live tab.
I know, and
YouTube.
it doesn't bring up the
And
results.
people are like going to the live tab and typing in search terms like atheism, and they're finding channels like ours and Rowan's, because he had all these, and a lot of Christians will go and look for the atheist channels to go on and proselytize.
Well, I go and find everybody on the panels, and I just subscribe to their channels.
Yeah, I used to do that, but it got too. I can't tell the flat earthers from the truthers from the conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, I don't care who they are. I just
a lot of
channels. Yeah, I don't even care who they are because you could be anybody at this point. It really doesn't.
And then Tommy was on every single one of them, so I had to start unsubscribing.
Yeah.
Every time I turn on the panel, Tommy was on it.
Yeah, there was a lot. There were panel jumping that had some degree. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I would just try to be respectful if I'm in a group, and I might have my strong views, and I do speak them. I'm not afraid to, and if somebody would like to, converse back with me, I welcome the conversation or that debate, right? Because I have my whatever. So as they would drop links or other people that are on panel, here I see myself going, okay, I'll sub just to be a courteous, I'm in here right now and this type of thing. And then I got to the point I'm like, I don't even know these panel people per se, and my interests are on a kind of a different level. I'm kind of taking from all different strides. I don't really have an overreaching opinion or a reach around opinion, as some of them would say on the panel, like I just don't on what they're going to do. That's going to be their ride, their flow, their dance, their rhythm of life. Like I've already chosen and I have already kind of like it's kind of like gearing yourself. And so when like I was saying about having that peripheral vision as you are on your path. So if you have a peripheral, now you just kind of pick up the dust that's around, but it doesn't get in front of your focus. It's kind of like the tumbleweeds that come into some of these panels, and then they pick up the other, and they just keep tumbling and tumbling. Now, some of these people are saying some of this stuff's been going on 18 months. That's insane. Okay, that's just my personal input right there, but I'm going to head out on that one. I think that's 18 months is a bit much. If you're not coming up with substantial targets of whatever you're saying you're doing against whatever you're doing and why you're doing it, and name calling to a point of almost disgusting. At what point does it just be? It's just so antagonistic to some other person's experience, and they're not even able to enjoy their experience of whatever's out. Yeah, you're going to have your bumps and your grinds, but what is 18 months all about, right? And jumping on people's panels and doing that to their streams, that's a little bit
Right, they have no life, and
obnoxious.
these are not very mature adults.
You all right, Machine?
Yeah, I actually have to go after this, but I would invite you guys to say the possibility of, or they've, if 18 months and they're so motivated to do this, could be that they're getting paid to do it, just by like some type of,
I don't disagree.
some type of advertising agency or somebody who,
checkmate.
Yeah, some type of
what are they getting for their money? Whoever's paying them.
Well, to funnel into creating a lore, creating a hub of people, and then exploiting them, selling them things, or either keeping track of their interactions. I mean, you could gain a lot of information about people if you know.
I suppose that's possible. It seems like overkill, but from what I've seen of the people on the panel, they're the types to do it for 18 months even without getting paid.
It might be possible, but yeah. I mean, as someone who's truly unstable, like mentally unstable, they could do that for forever.
They could exploit somebody like that too.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of these people on these panels are. They're maybe unknowing actors of somebody who is doing that, to them.
Honestly, like TBE seems much more manipulative. I think he's smarter than he lets on, and he it seems much more intentional when he trolls and he disrupts panels.
What would be his agenda? Like
just disruption.
Oh, that's why I call them troll, because that's what trolls do. They just like.
I think that he's a good
chaos.
No, I think he's a good example of somebody who's been pulled into like something, because he hits like talking points of like certain people.
Oh.
Yeah, like I've seen it. Like I have videos where like he lays it out where like he thinks like Jay Dyer's like theology is like correct. Like he's been like Orthodox Christian for like.
He's part of that Jay Dyer cult.
It seems to me like that is what it is. From the very beginning, he's kind of expressed like his thing, and like the first attack video he made on me was about me like attacking Jay Dyer's views.
Do you think Jay Dyer knows anything about the cult of people that have risen up around him that seem to almost worship the man? Do you think he knows? You do? I've never watched any
Absolutely, and he's responsible for creating it, and that's exactly precisely what I'm saying. That like there's been like not one or two people that I've known that have like went to question him and gotten banned on all of his platforms. That like he is trying to create an internal dialogue between a few people, that really respect what he's doing, and he's trying to keep out the critics of it, and that's happening on and the only question is that if that's ideologically motivated by some other thing, but well, if he's like on the 4th hour of the Alex Jones show, then it kind of ties to something bigger, in my opinion, and he's interviewing people like Alexander Dugin. You don't really just get a interview with Alexander Dugin. You don't just just reach out. Hey, let me send Alexander Dugin an email and maybe he'll show up. The guy who's gives advice to Vladimir Putin. It's like, no, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's like, this guy's either extremely influential or being used by some extremely influential people,
Yeah, I was just curious because you really got to watch out for if Jay Dyer starts inviting people to
his producers
join his church somewhere if it's out in Montana or something like. We gotta
That's
watch
what
out.
the Bear cult did. Oh, that Owen guy tried to do.
That the Toilet Bowl Earth accused me of doxing the church of somebody in their community. There's videos of him doing it. He's like the machine lied. Dox this person.
Because you mentioned what church somebody went to.
Exactly. And so they're extremely protective over whatever the church or whatever it's just extremely cultish to me, as if I don't know, and then the producer of Jay Dyer was in this Discord. For some reason, the person who produces his videos was in the Discord. And
your Discord?
No, in the Discord for TBE and EBT and Drew's channel.
Interesting.
Yeah, and recently he sent his whole audience into EBT's chat to raid his chat to boost up his views. He finally got as many views as I get on my videos.
How did you get your 1,000 views? Because we're trying to get to 1,000.
How do I get to 1,000 views?
Yeah, how did you get your first 1,000, or did it take a while?
I think people are hate watching these videos. There's no way that.
That's what we need to do.
Yeah, there's no way that people who are watching these videos are invested in my channel, or else I'd have 1,000 supporters like every video. It's just not plausible.
So did it come out of that initial wave of troll drama? That's when your numbers went up.
People hate these videos. There's 500 people who like the video and 500 people who hate the video. I'll bet you any money about it. And then it builds up to 1,000. So,
we're still trying to get 100. So yeah.
Well, we need more drama. Maybe we do need more drama. I'm sitting here trying to have rational, intellectual conversations.
We have Joshua Jones, and whenever he's on here,
he's driven viewers away. We've lost viewers because of Joshua Jones.
He's
me too.
Drama. What the hell?
But where is he? Where's he been? Yeah, I wonder.
He stopped by the other day, but
okay.
Oh, he said he was sick for a while. He had pneumonia.
He got sick from his kid or something. His kid got pneumonia, and he picked it up from him. So.
Okay, guys, I gotta break out of here because I gotta get ready for my show in a
little bit.
Okay, everyone, check out Machine Lies. He's streaming tonight. What time you doing? Like an hour or so?
Yeah, I'll probably show some of this video.
Oh, okay.
When we had when we had our little philosophical discussion, I'll probably show some of that, and then
we'll check him out. He goes all night, and you never know what you're gonna get.
Some subscribers,
feel free to dual stream when you're on our show. Feel free to
you can double stream anytime. I don't.
Yeah. Use the stream to see your audience thing. Feel free to do that, man.
I will. I will do
somewhere.
Oh yeah, take care somewhere.
Yeah, we're wrapping up anyway, but yeah, I just wanted to say feel free. I was telling her the same thing because she just posted a video herself. She in the chat she talked about she had a video. She went to the Scottish Rite Masonic Cathedral. And her uncle was a Shriner and stuff and so she posted a video about that. I was telling her she should next time she come on and we should talk about it. We should watch the video together and talk about it, and she can stream.
Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff on the Shriners coming up on my Discordianism Part 2 special. I'm going to talk about the origins of the Shriners as well because they're.
Are you going to show them on their little bicycles?
No, but I'm going to talk about
the parades.
The hat they wear. Ong's hat.
the
The
fez.
fez, the fez. And there was there was that one Doctor Who that wore the fez all the time, and then there is something. I have some theories about the Shriners too, to be honest.
Andrew was on Paul's chat today.
I'd like to talk to you about that.
I don't have anything to say to Andrew. Me and him have nothing to talk about. I don't mind going on the Crucible, but all they're doing is TikTok invasions lately.
Yeah, he avoids me. I think.
And he went on what's that? He went on the whatever podcast. So he's like has a different crowd now that he's
like
targeting.
some celebrity. Yeah. Yeah, I looked at it.
That. I saw a short with him on whatever. Yeah, I saw that.
A bunch of birds.
Fight with the fat girl.
Squawking birds. Yeah, it was just like strange.
The squawking birds.
Yeah, it was like weird. It was like watching Angry Birds live, you know. It was like, what is this shit? You know, it's just cartoons. You know? Ridiculous, you know.
Yeah, no, that podcast is insane. Yeah, it really is. But yeah, man. Yeah, I'll try to stop by tonight. We'll see what's up, man. I definitely try to stop by and see what you're talking about. Let me know when you do the Shriner things. I'd like to talk about that because that's really interesting.
I'll try to watch. It's hard for me to watch and not comment, but I'll try to sit in the background and watch and not interact much because I don't want to draw Tommy out.
Yeah, if you get bored, click on some of those Gnosticism videos, the origins of Gnosticism, perennialism. You know, I gave 2-hour explanation in the beginning of those, and it's really just like I dropped almost 6 hours of content about the Trinity. What is it? You know, and then I had a 3-hour thing with the deacon about it. So I mean, if anybody wants to tell me I didn't cover the Trinity, go fuck yourself. You know, I covered the shit out of it. Damn it. But yeah, bless you guys.
That sounds great, man. It's really great you stopping by. Thanks for coming by, man.
Yeah.
Bless you guys. Peace.
Peace. Bye. Well, it's been a fun show, man. Yeah.
Yeah, we went 3.5 hours. It's pretty good.
3 hours.
Although, I was talking to someone today, and if we're going to try to grow the channel, they said the best way to do it is short. Like, no one's going to come for 3-hour streams. Not to stop doing them, but we need to find either clips or in addition to the streams, do some short, easily digestible content. And that's what's going to drive the traffic that's going to get us to our 1,000. Because we're not going to get to 1,000 on live streams alone.
It's true. Yeah. No, that's definitely.
So we need to feel like today, whatever discussion he's talking about, that was any part of today's stream that was interesting. We need to figure out little 5 to 10 minute clips that we can make of it and start promoting those. And I think we'll get more traffic that way.
Jack, if you're out there, help us with that. You're really good at like editing little tiny videos.
Yeah, like if you can, I don't even mind clipping. If you can teach me the software, like I've only used the YouTube clip feature, but they only let you do a minute or so. So I don't mind clipping. I just need help with the technology.
Anyway, but yeah, no, you're right. We can try to create some short. Only problem with creating shorts is that they have to be in that phone format, like the vertical.
No, they don't.
They don't.
No, people clip Adam and Sitch clip their live streams all the time and make shorter episodes out of them.
Oh yeah, that'd be short. I meant to do actually YouTube Shorts, like you do the YouTube Shorts thing.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying clips, and then they can have their own title and thumbnails. So like whatever, like today, if we talked about the Trinity or something, we could call it, discussion about the Trinity. We could have a thumbnail for it so that it looks like its own video, even though it's pulled from the live stream.
Yeah. Okay. No problem. I'm gonna look into doing that. I know Jack's really good at doing it pretty fast, and it may help some. But if he can't, then
if there's something called an API key, and if I could figure out what that is and how to do one, you can hook it up to AI, and AI will go and make identify the topics in the chapters and make the timestamps and the chapter stops for your live stream. So AI could potentially automate some of that. If I could just figure out how API keys work.
I mean, I could do it if it only for the fact that Premiere crashed on me the last time I tried to use it, and it won't reopen, so I got to reinstall it. But I'll see if I can reinstall Premiere and see if I can do something like that. Then you can just use you just use the clip algorithm from there. But anyway, yeah. But we'll.
I'm probably gonna go take a nap. But if you want to binge watch some more shows tonight, I'd be up for that.
Sounds good, man. Yeah, I'll probably. At some point, I'll probably check out and see what Machine's talking about. Then once the trolls show up, then I won't be doing that anymore.
All right.
Yeah,
well, I'll message you.
I'm gonna go. I told Lindsay and the baby I'd go get them. We have a coupon for a free ice cream thing, so I'm gonna get a free ice cream thing. And
that sounds good. It sounds cold too, but it sounds good. So,
Yeah. So I'm gonna go
well,
get that.
bye, Juniper. Enjoy your ice cream.
Oh, she's back in there with her mom at the moment, but yeah. But I'll tell her you
Oh.
said hi. Bye. Anyway, bye.
Bye. All right. That's if you want more of this, just go over to Machines. Apparently, we're gonna he's gonna restream some of it. So that's our thing for today. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same YouTube channel, 2 p.m. Central. Come on and talk about whatever you want. We're still going to keep the live streams going, but we're also going to try to focus the channel on specific topics with shorter videos, probably using clips from the live streams. So anyway, take care. Have a good rest of your weekend, and see you tomorrow. Bye.